Hello and welcome to Bunto Silent Dogfight, episode number 21, Cerberus Hex. Our special guest tonight is, of course, Cerberus Hex. I'm your host, Bunto. I hope you all been having a great post-4th of July week. I had an excellent one. How about you, Cerberus? Good 4th of July? Or busy?
I it was okay. I didn't get to do all the stuff I normally get to do on the count of my injury, but
Yes. Oh, we'll have to get into that, but welcome to the show and thanks. All right, let me give you a quick background on our excellent guest tonight. He's an Illinois citizen and a first-time father to be. Congratulations, Cerberus. And can I say this to our listening audience? You're a Freemason too.
yeah, woo.
Right, and the second one I've interviewed, interestingly enough. Um, all right, let's get, people want to know the injury. Can we discuss
Oh,
that?
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna give the guy's name, but
Oh, okay. Doc dropped the guy.
yeah.
Okay, do you want to lay it out or do you want me to?
Well, I would like to know exactly how much you know, because
How
I have
much
a
do I know is that you're, of course, a heroic emergency responder, and while you were on duty, you were trying to aid an individual who was having, I guess you could say, a psychotic episode.
yeah, that'd be pretty fair.
I characterize it like that. He was having a psychotic episode, and he was armed with a knife.
Well, yeah, he eventually was armed with a knife.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have the knife in his hands when I was up trying to fix his hands.
All right. Well, what time of day was this?
This was about 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning, and the guy was fiending all day long, or what happened, as far as you know?
As far as his mother told us, is that about midnight he woke up like aggravated. She couldn't get him to calm down, and then he went into the bathroom and just started tearing up their like ceramic walls.
All right.
And he cut up his hands real bad and broke a few fingers and did some stuff. I was trying to stabilize his fingers, and
Oh my goodness. Okay, so your mom called 911. You showed up on the scene, and it's a bloody mess, right?
yeah, it's actually a surprising amount of blood to come out of fingers.
Oh my goodness. All righty. So, where was the guy? Get the guy to his living room, or you got him into the ambulance, or what?
Well, I had him sitting on the edge of their bathtub.
Okay, on
I
the bathtub.
Yeah, I wanted to get his fingers stabilized before I got him moving around anywhere, so he wouldn't make it worse.
And then the knife.
Oh yeah, and I leaned over to get into my bag, and then I guess, he had a knife next to the tub, or he had it in his back pocket, something like that,
All righty.
and he
Like, how
jammed
long
it.
was this knife service?
It was about 4 inches,
A
somewhere
four
around
inch
there.
knife.
Yeah, it got it in about 3 inches, and then it tore up. Oh, by the way, we didn't say it was in my hamstring.
All righty. Just
Yeah.
to tell our listeners, to give them the mental picture. He stabbed you in the left back leg or right back leg?
Right.
Right back leg. And did you know what happened right away, or were you just shocked? See, I don't know how the first emergency responders, are you always aware of what's going on, or you get
We're
shocked?
pretty aware. Like, I wasn't immediately aware that it was him. I was pretty much. I've been stabbed before. I was
Oh,
immediately
okay.
aware. I was immediately aware that I was stabbed.
All righty. So, I mean, you were calm or you were pissed? Just curious.
Oh, it's one of those. It seems weird to call it like this, but like when you slam your hand in the door, and you're pissed, but you're not like screaming and punching things.
Okay. You have a lot of discipline when you have pain surge.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that naturally, or did you just learn that through your occupation?
I'm gonna say it came about that naturally. I was like that long before I joined the fire
Right.
department.
Because you see people in pain freaking every time you go out on the job.
Yeah.
All right. So you slugged a guy, knocked him out, and threw him over your shoulder and took him to the ambulance, or what?
No,
Popped the guy a good one in the chops, or what?
I twisted around. I when I realized it was him, I jabbed him, and he fell back in the bathtub. And about that time, the cop came in, So
All right.
the cop literally dove from the door of the bathroom into the bathtub,
Oh my God.
and I was like, "Well, you got it."
He secured the prisoner.
And then I spent about the next 5 minutes trying to stabilize the knife in my leg.
Oh my God. Okay, the knife was sticking in or it got pulled out?
Oh, it was sticking in.
Oh God.
I
Oh my
I
God.
I was going to wait till I got to the hospital to take it out.
Now, Cerberus, how dangerous is a hamstring? I mean, are there veins and arteries back there, or are they inside of the leg?
They're all inside of the leg, but the angle it was at, it could have been. That's why I didn't want to pull it out,
Yes. All right.
and it wasn't bleeding. So I was like, well, as long as it's not bleeding, it's staying right where it is
Because
until
just
I'm in the ER.
like in the movie Black Hawk Down, when people get their what's that big vein in the leg? Once that vein's cut,
Femoral?
you're on the
Yeah,
clock, man, for
it's
bleeding to
quick.
death.
On clock, you're on. If it's a real cut, like
Right.
if it cut down the vein, we're talking a few seconds.
Really, of
Before
survival.
a few seconds before you're passed out, and then a few seconds after that, you're gone. You're just
You
bloody.
have to slap a tourniquet on that. Okay, so is that what happened? They put a tourniquet on you?
No, we don't usually use tourniquets. Uh, in the hospital or out of the hospital, unless it's something like
Desperate.
really, it's something desperate. Like, yeah,
It's life saving critical. You slap that tourniquet on because that limb is probably gonna go right if you tourniquet it like you're supposed to.
yeah. All it's actually pretty simple. We went in. The doctor kind of, eyeballed where the knife was, which made me kind of nervous.
Okay.
But then he was like, "I think we can pull this out." And I'm like, "Oh, great! Now we got to pull it out." It's the only thing. It's the only thing worse than having it sitting in your leg is pulling it out.
Okay, so is that extra terror service that you are an emergency responder, so you know the medicals, while like if you're Joe Blow off the street, you really don't know what's going on when the doctor's examining you. So maybe there's you have more information that you can worry about.
Yeah. I know. I guess it depends on the type of person, because some people are really scared when they don't know what's going on.
Right.
But most people would be worried either way. I The only real unique thing about, I guess, someone in my situation is I know exactly how many ways it can go wrong,
Yes.
and it's not just a general sense of it could go wrong.
Okay, so just at that point, how long were you laid up in the emergency room? A couple hours or?
I was in there for about. They get to you pretty quick when you're a paramedic, but
Right.
I was in the ER for about 7 minutes before I saw the doctor, and
Okay.
then about 20 minutes to half an hour after that, they pulled it out.
I see. And then a lot of blood transfusions or
No, no, no,
plasma?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
It actually didn't bleed that badly. They clotted it and then stitched it up.
How many stitches?
That's the one thing I don't know. The doctor told me,
Mhm.
but I don't care. That's,
Okay, so pain medication or no pains, or how heroic are you?
I I'm not much of a complainer when it comes to that. Yeah, not until afterwards.
All
Yeah,
right. So you went
yeah.
home and told the wife, and then you start having pain, right? Or what?
Well, that's the thing. They gave me like large doses of acetaminophen, which is
Okay.
basically just high doses of over-the-counter painkiller.
Oh, they didn't give you like narco or
No.
perks. Hey, I'm in a lot of pain, doc. I bet you that is a problem. With paramedics getting hooked on pain medications.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's actually a worse problem for firefighters.
Oh, for firefighters. I guess they have to be up all night and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I miss
Well,
doing that too.
okay. Well, just to cap it, okay. How long are you going to be laid up for? A month or two, or are you a quick healer?
Well, it's about average. Nothing really special. Uh, I went back 2 days ago on light duty,
Right.
and I'm going back today for light duty, and then in about 3 weeks I'll be back on full duty.
Okay. Well, is this the worst injury you had on the job, or have you had even more severe injuries?
Uh, That's probably the most severe, but it's not the scariest.
Oh, I can imagine. Okay, we'll save that for the later half of the show. Thanks, Cerberus. All right, let's just talk about something that intrigued me when I first heard about it. Is that you are a fellow Native American?
Yes.
All right. As far as you know, how many are there of us in the Great Debate community?
As far as I'm aware, just me and you.
Just me and you. You know, I'm I guess a little bit vociferous about it. Um, I remember I was in a hangout and you were discussing it with some other person. I don't know how to characterize that conversation, but the guy was being, I don't know, silly or something. And then you reveal that you were Native American. I was like, hey, me too.
Yeah, I can't even remember who it was, but
I can't remember.
he was making some sort of weird argument out of nowhere. And
Right.
apparently, I was a terrible person unless I was a Native American. And I was like, no, I'm Native
Oh,
American.
I think I remember. Was it along the lines of with Jesus was? I think wasn't it Jesus?
Yeah, yeah, it was Jesus.
It was Jesus, giving us his Hebrew Israelite explanation of Native Americans, how we're really Israelites, right? He came over on a big boat.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how to take him. He's just so bizarre.
Okay, well, let's talk about those people in the general, Cerberus. People that have a misunderstanding of how Native Americans arrived here, right? For one, and what part they played in the history of the continental Americas. Um, I think we had to explain to Jesus about the land bridge, right? How it came across from Asia,
Yeah.
and how people, either by boat or by foot, just crossed over into the continental U.S. and continental Americas, I'll say, right? Um, your own heritage, you are what type of Native American?
A crow. I'm a crow.
A Crow. Okay, where's that located? Mainly about what region of the U.S.?
Northern Plains area, as much as I remember.
Okay, well, have you ever been to any Crow events?
No,
Powwow.
no, I have been to a Navajo.
All right.
They seemed okay with me being a crow.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like there's much anonymity between the tribes.
I think at this point, I mean, there is such a decimation of the Native American, by the Europeans that I would be surprised if there was any, tribal. I don't know of any. Do you know of any tribal animosity still existing? I have not. I don't know any. I mean, all I know is they say so and so fought with so and so way back then, but after we all got put on the reservation, I'm sure there's not any more tribal animosity.
Yeah, I mean the worst I ever got was, the other Native Americans tell the story about the crows. I guess the crows were kind of violent.
Oh, they were okay. What's some back history, please?
That's about all I know. They used to oh, what's it's I forget how you pronounce it. It's the one that starts with an X. Is it?
Hmm.
I'm, I'm not going to
Anyways,
pronounce it right. It's it's Sioux.
Sioux. Sue.
Hmm, yeah, it is Sioux. Okay.
Sue. Anyway, so they were. I guess I'm Sue, so I guess we're enemies. I didn't know that till right
Yeah,
now.
apparently we pillaged you a lot.
Okay. Like my grandmother was born in the Omaha area, so it was Omaha Sioux. Of course, to me, that could be just a reservation. Who knows? Where they were located. That's the thing. In my, I have to admit to you, Cerberus, I really don't know a lot about my Native American heritage. I'd have to go back and effort it. Have you ever thought about that? Going back and extensively studying.
Uh, I could, but the only real information I have to start with is that my grandfather told me that I was a crow and that he was a crow, and there's no crow tribes around here. I don't know any crows,
Right.
so I would really have to go out of my way to do it. I could do
Well,
it, and
that's the beauty of G plus or any internet, that you can get on the internet and start networking and hooking up with people who know. Does that sound appealing to you?
it does. But I would prefer to like hear it from the crows, like in person.
Right.
It's not. It's it's not that people like everyone in America says they're like 1/32nd Indian of some kind, right?
Okay.
So I would rather like see the red man, talk to the red man.
Okay. Have you ever been to a reservation?
No,
Well, I've been to the
most.
reservation is New Mexico, and I've seen them. Poverty stricken. New Mexico is a very poor state.
Yeah, it seems like uh, the Native Americans that left, those areas and like this kind of entered into the general population, they're doing a
Right.
lot better.
Ran off the reservation. That's what my grandma did. Um, that's one step I guess you could take. You could go back to a reservation and see what those people are all about.
Yeah, I don't even know where the nearest Crow reservation is.
Right. Well, the thing is like people will bring up something like, "Hey, I didn't know you're a crow," and then they talk to you crow things, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? That's happened to me plenty of times with Sue. I tend to ask my cousins because they're all into their own heritage, what stuff is about. So that's my resource. I can always ask my cousins.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think they're in Oklahoma. I think
Right.
I think that's where they started anyway. For the reservation, as far as the
Hmm.
reservation goes.
So, I have my other family members I can go consult. If I want to bug them, I really haven't talked to them in a while. Well, as far as bigotry, I mean, just it's not so much bigotry, but ignorance, correct?
Yeah, I don't even get much of that, because I'm still pretty white.
Right. You're
Like
Blanco, still
my
white.
my Irish and German like offset that a lot.
Okay, well, I mean, are you into heritage or not so much?
I am more into my more direct family heritage than I am to my general heritage.
What does that mean? Like,
Well,
I'm a American. Is that direct enough or?
yeah, like it's not that I'm not really interested in like the surrounding culture. I'm just more interested in my family.
Okay, like sports teams or
No, okay, for
high
example,
school down the street or what? Go
I
ahead.
say okay, for example, my great grandfather was a full Native American, a full Crow. Right.
Okay.
I would be interested in him, but I couldn't really care very much about like the crows around him if there were any.
Oh, I
Does that
see. Just what he was about, not so much the heritage.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, let me ask. Freemasonry, right? You are free. Does Freemasonry work that same way? You're like more interested in who the Masons were than the what do they call them? The groups or the
Uh,
chapters? What do you call a Masonry chapter or what?
well, those were all things like chapters will be individual temples, right? Well, some of them are
Temples.
some of them aren't even called temples, but they all have a temple.
All right. You are a Freemason.
Yes.
Okay. Are you supposed to ever announce that or just
No,
how's that handled?
I can announce that all I want. That's why we wear rings and neckties and
Oh, I see.
put stickers on the back of our vehicles.
Okay, here in America, you do that or is it all over the world?
As far as I know, all over the world, I don't think the York does it very much.
Okay. Is there a difference between us and the Brits?
Not specifically. Uh, Europe has more York Rite chapters than
Okay, well,
America. In America, the York Rite's pretty uncommon.
all right, just explain that. Is that like more ancient, just to our listeners, or is there more of a backstory to the Yorks?
Well, the Yorks were founded in York,
Like, were they the
yeah,
first ones or
in
what?
England. No,
I mean, okay, who started
no.
Freemasonry?
Well, which like incarnation are we talking about?
Okay, well, which
Like
incarnation is the
there's
most important?
there we all have different missions.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Like this is like a really complicated subject that I know a lot about, and
All right. Well,
Okay, I'm just let me give you some facts here, so then you kind of know where you want to go. Is that okay?
okay. Sure.
Okay, you got the York Rite, which were traditionally the builders. They're uh, they're really hardcore Christian.
Hardcore
In order,
Christians.
you, you don't have to be a Christian to join, but the highest three levels
Right.
require you to defend Christendom with your life.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
it was a big deal. The last time it was a big deal was in World War One. A
okay.
bunch of people, a bunch of people that were in the York Rite around the world decided to go mess with the Ottoman Empire.
All right.
Basically terrorist groups,
Okay.
because they
Yeah,
saw it
Islam.
as a Muslim nation
Right.
messing with Christian nations.
Okay.
So instead of
So,
joining their country's military, they all went and messed with the Ottoman Empire.
okay. Okay. How are
The
Americans?
Scottish Rite,
All right. Scottish Rite. Okay.
yeah, the Scottish Rite is much more common in America. It was There's some toss up between, was it founded in Scotland or was it founded in America? It was
Okay.
definitely revised in America,
All right. Made over.
made over. But yeah, the beginnings isn't really that important because I don't think we changed a whole lot. It's called the college because we tend to focus on educational charities
I
or
see. Charitable.
or local schools. We'll help fund local schools.
There's an
Uh,
altruistic outlook.
yeah,
Okay. Which one's bigger, Scottish Rite or York?
Scottish Rite, I think, is by far bigger at this point
Big.
because the Scottish Rite, you don't have to be religious necessarily to join.
Oh, okay. So there's no, like the Yorks, that, bias against you not believing any of it,
Yeah,
Christianity. Okay,
and
well, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, there's still more. Then there's Shriners.
Shriners. Okay.
The Shriners, I'm sure they do a bunch of stuff. They usually focus on charities for children,
Yeah, I've seen those guys.
and most specifically, I'm sure if you have it, some people have the Shriners Children's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They do a bunch of research for children, and if there's a child somewhere and their parents can't afford some major surgery, they'll fit the bill for it, stuff like that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's mostly what they do as far as charity-wise. Otherwise, you would know them as the guys that run around the go-karts with the fezzes.
That's right, a little fit. Okay, now let me ask you this, Cerberus. I was talking to this person on our great debate community. He's a hip hop artist, and they believe in conspiracy theories, right? And they believe that hip hop is dominated by the Freemasons. Did you know that?
I was unaware of that.
Right. Okay. So, everything you've told me, altruism, charitable, helping children. And then, there's these people that believe that the Freemasons are evil. Why is that?
There's always been people that think the Freemasons are evil.
Bloody rituals, satanic rituals. Why?
That is some of the most common accusations.
Right.
But most of it, persists because it hasn't been a big enough deal for us to ever have to deal with it.
To
So
dispel.
we kind of just let the crazy people be crazy because they don't get any traction anywhere.
Okay, Cerberus, has there ever been a evil satanic Freemasonry type lodge? Or is that just hooey?
I would say probably the closest one is forgetting his name now. What's his name that started the Mormons?
No, really, Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith joined a lodge, I think, in New York. New York.
All right.
It might have been Chicago. It was one of those two. He got kicked out for some unscrupulous behavior,
Sure.
and then he went out west and started his own lodge, unbeknownst to like the head lodges,
Right.
and then kind of perverted the whole thing.
Okay.
And then eventually the lodges found out and basically marched up to his door and tore down the lodge and made him leave.
Right.
And then he
There's
started the Mormon Church.
There was retribution. Okay, so let me ask you this. The Freemasons aren't going to put up with any of that sort of behavior nowadays, right? Somebody just starting, hey, this is Freemasonry when they have no affiliation, right?
Generally. Because we got some protection under law because it's a chaptered
Interesting.
organization. It's a tax exempt, legalized organization, so you can't just go about making lodges willy nilly if you're not a member.
I see. Okay, so that's interesting. You just can't, call yourself a Freemason. You have to have credentials.
Yeah, and there's one or two ways we tend to do it. You can get chapterized, which means you're like a full-fledged lodge. You can do anything another lodge can do legally.
Okay.
And then there's like the allowed. There's the allowed ones. So they come to whatever main lodge is in their state. They ask for a lodge. Either they don't have enough high-ranking members, or they don't have any original members for
Okay.
whatever reason. So they'll take the person that wants to start a lodge, they'll initiate them, and then they'll be like in a probationary, like a decade-long period.
Okay. It's almost like a fraternity or
Yeah.
sorority. Okay.
Well, that's what we call it, a fraternity.
It crossed my mind, Cerberus. Has there any history of racism? Is there all black lodges or are they all mixed now or what?
We're generally mixed. There are a few all-black lodges in the South, which has been kind of a point of contention, but it's still a point of contention between the lodges in the North and the lodges in the South. Like, the Civil War never stopped for us, apparently.
Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah.
but at this point, it's mostly staying the way it is, just because this is how it's been.
Okay.
Like,
So
the black
there's
lodges don't want to join the other lodges, and apparently the white lodges don't want to join up either, so they're separate.
interesting. Okay, but this is in the South, right? Who
Yeah, this
calls
is
the shots? The North or the South? Or are they just still
the way it works is each state in the United States, except for I think Hawaii. Hawaii doesn't have a state lodge. They might go off California.
okay?
Uh, that's who you have to appeal to if you want to make another lodge. They make the general mission statement for the state for all the other lodges,
Right.
but generally the lodges have freedom to do. They'll pick their own charities. They'll make their own events. They don't have to ask permission for things.
Like a diocese. Is that a good
Yeah,
simile?
yeah, that's not too bad. And
Okay.
then from there we have the head Grand Lodge in D.C., which is actually on that main strip there, like like where the Washington Monument is and stuff.
Right. Wasn't that
And
all laid out by Freemasons?
well, yeah, I can't deny that it wasn't, because at that time almost everyone in that area was a Mason.
Right.
So like, yeah, it was laid out by Masons. The buildings were built by Masons. The people that cooked the food for the people building the buildings were probably Masons.
Like the whole map of the area makes sense to a Mason when they look at it.
I
That's what
don't
I've
know
heard.
about that. Like, it's been heavily redone since 1776.
Right.
So
So maybe that's just a tall tale.
yeah, most of the street layout, which I think is the most common conspiracy theory,
Mm-hmm.
has been like torn down, burned down, rebuilt, moved over the last 100+ years.
So yeah, it's all the old layout have been obviously redone, more efficiently.
I mean, a lot of these people that have that conspiracy theory don't even realize that that's not where the White House used to be.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good thing to bring up to them.
I mean, the British burnt down the White House, and then where the White House is now was owned by a Masonic group that donated it to the country to build the White House there. 'Cause
How nice.
we were going to put the Washington Monument there.
I didn't know that. That's interesting history. Well, let me ask you this. This, just my own mind. Okay, I'm LGBT, and okay, my friend Mark, told me that they ask you to join, the Masons, right? I mean, would they ask me, or do I strike out because I'm a homosexual?
I mean, would they not ask you, or would you
Yeah,
not
would
be
they
able to
not
join?
ask me because I'm LGBT?
I would hope not. As far as I'm aware, there's no rules saying you can't be.
Right.
Sexual preference isn't like said anywhere.
Okay, they don't
I
even
would I
mention it
would
in the rules.
real quick, I would imagine the York Rite might have a problem with it because they're so Christian.
Okay,
But
and of course the Bible.
The Scottish Rite, the only real thing the Scottish Rite has is they preferred if you're married.
I see. That's interesting. Well, now, as of last week, that's a definite possibility, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my friend is Mark Unoya, who's also a Mason, right?
Yeah, I think when I talked to him about that, it's been quite a while ago, but like he was a Mason like when he was 18 or 20 or something like that, and he hasn't really. Yeah, it's the idea that once a Mason you took the L, so you're always a Mason.
Right.
But
Isn't that the way it works?
he's not. Technically yes, because you're not released from your oaths just because you don't pay dues anymore.
I see. Like, well, that's interesting. Okay.
Like, like the idea would be if now he decided to go back to a lodge, he would go to his home lodge, which is where he was initiated. He would have to, there'd be some proof given. I can't tell you what the proof would be.
Sure.
And then they would look, if they didn't have a record of him. They probably have a record of him somewhere. Because we keep journals of everyone that joins when and where, their names, all that stuff. And he would just have to pay dues again or pay a lifetime due, whatever one he wants to do, and then just rejoin.
Okay, well, how about this, Cerberus? Is it possible to forget that I was a Mason? Like, let's suppose, I recall that I went through some ceremony when I was like 13 or 14. Is that even possible?
No.
No.
You're
Okay.
not allowed to join any of the lodges, any order, unless you're 18 or higher.
I see. So, okay, well, I'm 18, and let's say I went through some ritual when I was 18, and like now I'm 50. Is there any way I can get back into it? I mean, what privileges are afforded to me, just showing up at a lodge?
Well, I mean, if you were just a first degree, all the privilege that would come with first degree once you prove that's who you were.
I see. First degree, right? How many degrees are there? Like 40?
Well, the Scottish Rite has 33. The York Rite has 13 steps. And the Shriners, as far as I'm aware, I don't deal with them a whole lot. They don't have any steps.
Okay.
They have the first three because the first three is like the basic layout, but they don't have anything past that.
I see. So it's cool for like a Shriner to show up at your lodge and, hang out with you guys, or is that a no-no?
It's uncommon, but yeah, it's not a no-no. It happens.
Okay.
It happens.
I was just curious about, how the whole thing works. You can tell I've never been in any sort of organized group, the Democratic Party. But okay, Mark Unoya, sure, he's a Freemason, and you guys pass signals to each other every day, or what?
See, that's the tricky thing. Because technically, you're not supposed to give passwords or hand signals or handshakes to someone that you don't already know is a Mason.
I see. Okay.
And you're not supposed to do anything audible or visible, so anyone could hear the password or to see the handshake.
Okay, but okay, the reason that is because it spoils all the mystery, right?
Actually, the reason that is, they're technically not secrets. Like, this is stuff you can go online and look up. This you can buy Morals and Dogma and like the Bridge to Light. You can buy all of our books, all of our first 3 degrees books, like on the internet, like on Amazon. This isn't about keeping secrets from the general population. This is to prove to us that you can keep a secret.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Okay, has anybody ever said, "Yeah, I'm a Mason," and then you just realized that this guy was bullshitting?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, I mean, because that's the use of the secret stuff, right? You just say something, and if it has no register on the guy's brain, then you know something's wrong, right?
Well, I wouldn't even tell him a secret. That's the whole point. Like, I'm not sure if he is, so I wouldn't give him a password or a handshake.
Okay, well, sir, okay, let's suppose that I just get a wild hair at my ass. I want to present myself as a Freemason. I mean, there would be like things I would do that would be like wrong, like maybe wear wrong colors or what?
No. I mean, Honestly, there is no way to prove it to someone else over the internet.
Alrighty.
That you're supposed to do anyway.
Okay.
But there are some, like, I'm forgetting his name. Do you know who Johnny May is?
Yes, I know Johnny May.
He looks exactly like Johnny May, except for he's American.
All
He's really
right.
annoying. He's drunk all the time. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Okay. Well, is it? I think yeah, I've had an encounter with that guy. I think it's Truth something. That
No,
dude.
shit. No, he's a little older. I'm trying to think.
Anyway, so what happened?
Anyway, he keeps on like whenever he's in the room with me, he's like, "Well, you know, I'm a Mason," and he just starts like jabbering off strange words, and it's just like I don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
What are you
where the hell
saying?
have you been? No,
Okay.
he's literally just making up words.
All right. The reason that he wants to present himself as a Mason because he gets street cred in his mind. I
Yeah,
guess
in his mind.
he gets some sort of like, hey, I'm a part of a mysterious organization. Did he tell you directly, or is he just blabbing to people that he's a Mason?
It usually comes up when he's in a room with me, and then someone else knows that I'm a Mason.
Right.
So they'll kind of, I guess he said it in the past, so they'll egg him on into saying it when I'm in the room.
Hmm.
So it's people being a pain in the ass. That's how it gets mentioned.
Okay, well, this is just the last question I'd like to ask you. Like, if a Mason tells you to jump, you jump, right? I mean, no questions asked. That's the whole beauty of Freemasonry.
You mean if a Mason came up to me and asked me to jump?
You know what I mean? I mean, whatever you have to do for the lodge, you do it.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of restrictions on that, but generally yes.
You know, there's a fidelis there. You know, semper fi. You know, almost gets like the Marines.
Yeah.
Cool. There's certain people that you wouldn't like to see be Masons, but they are. You know, like I'm sure, like the Marines. There's people that join the Marine Corps and they're like, "Oh God, we need bodies, so we're gonna let this guy be a Marine."
Yeah. Most people that don't have the right temperament or aren't friendly or rude or a whole host of character flaws, right? They get kind of weeded out
Oh, okay.
before they get asked to join. They get blackballed. We're actually where that term comes from, to get blackballed.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Which do you
At,
think is tighter, the Marines or you guys?
mm,
I've seen some shitty Marines, but
I don't. I would hate to compare those two.
right, a boot camp to be a Mason. Interesting. Um, okay, well, how about that? We'll just leave that there. And I like you to know. Okay, we were talking about people you meet in the Great Debate community, right? I mean, what kind of hijinks? Okay, well, let me ask you this: how long have you been on G Plus?
Uh, about 9, 10 months, somewhere in there.
9 or 10. How did you learn about us?
I saw a recommended video in the side of a YouTube video I was watching.
Okay, and then you said I got to be a part of that, or what?
It was more like I fell into the Brett Keane trap.
You fell into the Brett Keane trap. Okay, what was your first impressions?
My first impression was Brett Keane's an ignorant moron. He was a
Okay,
hateful person.
did you think he was real when you first saw? I mean, like I watched Brett Keane from the audience, and then I think, this guy isn't real. You know what I mean? He's not like, I don't really take him that seriously. Did you when you first saw him?
Well, both. I think he hypes up everything that he says,
Right. I mean, it's silly.
but I think he generally believes what he's saying.
Like, okay, he's been doing Satanism now for like a week or so. I mean, it's just so silly. It's the silliest shit in the world. And he's trying to, blast the atheists. So, he's talking Satanism. But, when I'm watching it, it's like so excruciating to listen to because I just know it's all phony.
Oh yeah, and he's messing with my Lord Savior. I don't like that.
Okay. Anyway, so you saw this guy and you said, "Whoa, wow, this is a cool community. I got to be a part of it," or what?
I was more curious about how could someone sit in a hangout for 8 hours and talk to this person called Brett Keane? I, I was less interested in Brett Keane to start with than I was with the people that were able to tolerate him.
All right. Was it a packed house or just a few people in his
When
room?
I jumped in, I think it was six,
All
six or
right, that's
seven.
pretty good people. And then you asked him a question or what? You just listened.
Well, I listened to start with because Brett Keane was on kind of a tirade, and then I don't know if it was a mistake, but I did something that Brett Keane remembered me for a really long time, which is I said, "Wow, you're an ignorant piece of shit, aren't you?" And that was the first thing I ever said on G Plus.
That was the first thing you ever said out loud. How fitting, right? Okay, so you were hooked, right? You just had to go to one hangout after another, or what happened?
Yeah, it was kind of slow to start with. I used to go into Reuben's rooms
Okay.
because Reuben used to have a room every night. So when I went to work, I had a bunch of paperwork to do. I just became an officer not too long before that, so I had all the shitty jobs,
All
like
right.
like the paperwork. So
Admin.
I would sit in hangouts and do paperwork, which
Okay.
which meant I would only talk half the time. But
Okay. Keyword talk. Reuven, you've heard his voice?
no, no, I've
So
known
how did you
Reuben.
get along with a guy who's never talked? I mean, just type chat or what?
Well, yeah, type chat with Reuben's fine. He's easy enough to get along with. I I much more so approve of Reuben than the people he used to surround himself with. I've noticed in the last couple months he's kind of cut away the more
Specious people.
specious people from around him.
Okay, so okay, who would float into a Reuven hangout? Like Lucia?
No, this would have been way before Lucia came on.
Okay, well who was in the Reuven hangout? Any names?
Brett Keane.
Oh.
Who was? I'm glad I forgot his name, but now I'm upset with you for trying to make me remember it. Uh, Brett Keane's buddy. I can't think of his name.
Oh, J
Uh,
Dubs?
J-Dubs. J-Dubs would come in there. Uh, Idol Smasher would come in there. I actually kind of like Idol Smasher. I don't mind
All
him.
right, yeah. Interesting guy.
And then there would be about 10 or so people that I didn't know as well that would kind of interchange like every other week.
How did you meet Lucia? Please.
Let's see. I think I met Lucia when she was in a hangout with Jello.
All right. Well, there's two people. Okay, I have to tell our listening audience, I adore Lucia Jennings. I think she's wonderful. I think she's singularly unique. I don't know anybody else like her. I mean, how did you get attracted to her? Just, the history, everything she brought up, the voice.
Oh,
What's not to
well,
love?
yeah, there isn't really much not to like. Like, she would. I'm going to say this because she'd say it herself. She's loud and opinionated,
Right.
but she's generally cool.
Okay, so you're in Jello's room with Lucia, and I mean, this is a different speed than frickin' Brett Keane and his ilk, right?
Oh yeah. Well, this was like this is where I ended up. Like there were intermediate steps. I I started hanging out with Jello when I completely stopped caring about people that would hang around with Brett Keane.
About propriety, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, how often do you hang out with these guys? Every week?
Yeah, probably about 4 times a week.
Okay,
Be
you
about
get,
right.
you emergency respond all day, and you just can't wait to get in a hangout with these guys, or what?
Yeah, that's the thing. On the non-busy days, I am much more likely to come in because sometimes you just have a really shitty day, or there's like a really shitty call, and you're just not in the mood to talk.
Okay. Now, also, you're coming in late, right? I mean, these people are Europeans. Well, except Jello. We're thinking about people like Bart Verveen. I mean,
Yeah, when I don't have any probationary people to babysit,
right.
I'll come on about 10 or 11 my time, which is Central American.
Hmm.
Central American time. Uh, if I have people I have to babysit, I'll come on about 1 in the morning.
Right. And then all
But
the Euros are on.
yeah, you got people like me that work third shift or are just insomniacs.
Hmm.
Then there are people like Jello who says, he's a self-proclaimed garage dweller.
Right.
And then you have the Europeans, and then a little later on you have the Australians.
Okay, Bart, what do you think? I mean, he does the most hilarious Nadia impression I've ever heard. I mean, it's just so spot on. Perfect.
Yeah, and I like Bart. He's pretty smart. The only complaint about Bart is he needs a better windmill to run his internet.
What do you think of the Europeans? You want to go over there and live someday or not?
I prefer to turn America into something a little more like Europe than I would
Americans.
prefer. Yeah, America.
Okay, well, I mean, Europe is very quaint, kind of crowded, the streets. I mean, there's a lot of things we enjoy here in America, with the wideness and open spaces. Have you ever been to Europe?
Yeah, I've been to Italy and Germany.
Allies in World War II. Which one did you like better?
Uh, that's a hard one. I had a better nightlife in Germany, but I was entertained more throughout the day in Italy.
Italy. The only Italian I know is Fabio. Have you met him?
Yeah, Fabio's pretty cool.
Yeah, Fabio's cool. All right. Being European while you're in the middle of Illinois, you can see it, or you know, country western forever, right?
No. My area is actually known for the heavy metal music.
Oh, metal.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
like an added bonus, like some of my favorite bands, like well, Disturbed from Chicago. You have like Five Finger Death Punch. Most of their members are like from Bloomington Normal, which isn't
Right.
too far from me. We had Mudvayne come from Peoria, and Pekin and Bloomington Normal, and we had a lot of relatively famous metal bands come from where I live.
Okay, you love rock, right?
Yeah, and on top of it, Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch are mostly made up of Masons.
No.
Yeah, I've met all
Okay.
of them.
So funny enough that the kid that's worried that's afraid of the masonry and hip hop, if he only looked at heavy metal, he'd see some influence, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know Jay Z's a Mason. Yeah,
How?
he parades around a TV with his ring on all the time.
How? Um, I mean, is that a good thing? I mean, you kind of like proud that he is, representing.
I mean, I think it is, but I'm clearly biased.
Cool. Interesting. All righty. Well, just let's go ahead and dovetail about great debate hijinks. Is there anything that goes on in our community, the great debate community, that you think is not very worthwhile? Are you a part of the great debate community? You consider yourself?
Yeah, just barely, like on and off. Every once in a while, I'll find. It's not even specific people. It's sort of a specific combination of personality types that I like to go into a room with.
G-Man.
Actually, not G-Man.
Okay. Are
Not
you
G-Man.
butthurt that the guy is finally off? I mean, he's taking his hiatus.
No, the last time I talked to G-Man was like 8 months ago, and I said, G-Man, just calm down. He didn't even say what you thought he was saying, and he kicked me from a room, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Like,
Right. It seems like you can have a 20 seconds and G-Man will boot you. Well, anyway, now there's a vacuum at the top of the great debate community. I mean, do you care who fills it, or
uh, I'm not much of an anti-theist, so I'm not super concerned about who fills it. I know a lot of the atheists and anti-theists in the community hopes that the most retarded person takes the spot,
right?
but yeah, not really. I
Okay.
honestly, I would prefer someone less crazy. I would probably go talk with them.
Okay. G-Man as Freemason.
That just wouldn't happen.
Why not?
It. I suppose in some weird world where G-Man was given a bunch of Quaaludes, and was like put into therapy for a few months that he might get past the first degree without being found out.
Right.
But in between people having to vouch for you and having to go through the first, second, and third degree, I'm almost positive he would be kicked out if he made it in.
Yes. I mean, this is not, like Knights of Columbus or something. This is a serious organization. Anyway, let's go ahead and leave that there. Great debate. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so if somebody asks you, are you part of the Great Debate community? You're going to say yes?
Yeah, I consider myself sort of this outer shell of people
Okay.
that really only come in when we think we have something smart to say.
You don't want to be one of these like well, okay, we have all sorts. Let's say it is almost like we have the Nodians, right? And then we have, I guess, like you guys in the outer shell, and like people like me who, just, I guess, float in and out, are just really not, a anti-theist or a real hardcore, of course not a fundamentalist. You do a lot of bouncing around.
Yeah, I think the few people that still know me, because so many people have like left and come back, and new people have come in and they've left, and new people have come in
Right.
since I've started. That though most of the people that know that I am a self-proclaimed agnostic, and
Okay.
every once in a while I will upset an atheist, a fervent atheist on purpose by saying, "Let's talk about your atheist woo."
All right. Okay.
That's
Why do you do that? Just because you want to be balanced, or you just get tired of the strident atheism?
it's not even the strident atheism. What happens is because they get so wrapped up with just
God hate.
trying, with it's not even God hate. It's they're just so wrapped up with trying to force the other person out of the conversation because the other person probably isn't any better than what they're doing, but they'll start saying dumb things that aren't correct, and they'll start making an ass out of themselves and like other atheists by association. So then
Okay.
I'll jump in and point out that they're an idiot, and then they'll argue with me for a little while, and I'll usually prove that they're an idiot, or being an idiot anyway.
Okay. Well, it's only fair, right? You think?
Yeah, it is fair. That's not why I do it. I just don't like people making bad arguments.
Do you think
I
you'd ever stand up for G-Man? I mean, if G-Man was taking a pounding from stupid atheist position, you think you'd, try to back the atheists off just to be fair?
no, I
No.
think I think I think I would make the atheist look like an idiot at a later date because it's as far as I'm aware, G-Man probably deserves
Right.
every bad
Karma,
argument.
G-Man.
Yeah, every bad argument he comes in contact with, he kind of deserves.
Truly. All right. Well, let's leave that there, Cerberus. Okay. You are a hero. You're an emergency responder. For how long?
Let's see. I volunteered for 3 years. My last 3 years of college, let's say, uh, 6 years now.
6 years.
6 years paid.
How important is it to you to save someone's life?
Well, it's pretty important. It seems like to people that don't have the job that it should be like the most important thing ever. But if it's always the most important thing ever, you're not going to last very long.
Yes.
So you have your first couple bad calls, and maybe you'll get a bunch of anxiety. Whatever fire department or ambulance service you're with will probably make you go to a therapist your first few bad calls.
Okay.
You're not going to go wacko, when you're not on duty or
Have
on.
you come close to burning out?
No, I do have. It's become a trendy word. I don't really think it's really PTSD, but I guess it is technically. I have a
Okay.
thing with children choking. I really don't like children choking.
Right.
It makes me nauseous, and usually if I get a call like that, by the time I get back to the fire department, I'm like in the bathroom throwing up.
Yeah, you have a reaction.
But other than that, no, that's like the only thing I have from it.
Okay, well, I mean, did they convince you to see therapy, or you just have to get over it yourself?
Uh, to start with, they sent me to therapy. like it sounds bad. Most people think it sounds bad when you get sent to therapy, but every single firefighter and EMT in my
Yes,
department has been sent to therapy.
there's a practical application to it. I don't see
Yeah,
anything
and
wrong.
it's after the first time I was no, it wasn't the first time. That's the third time. I think I went 3 times for that. After the third time, I was just like, you know what? I'm okay with not being okay with choking children.
I see. You didn't see much you can gain further from the
Yeah, and I'm
therapy.
like, if this ever becomes a problem and I think I'm going to eat a bullet or do something stupid, I'll come back and talk to you. And then ever since then, I don't think they've sent me to therapy once.
Well, you know what I was thinking, Cerberus, is like you've had the experience of therapy. So if you know, like you say, you do probationary people, maybe newbies, like when they have problems, you could at least relate to them, you know, your experience with therapy, how to go about it, you know.
Yeah, I'm the one that usually signs them up for it,
Uh-huh.
being the position that I have right now.
Really? Okay, look, you're a hero in my mind because you told me a story once of a real tale from the dark side. Can we go over it real quick just for the benefit of our listeners?
Okay, well, we're obviously not talking about the stabbing. You're talking about the rectum one, right?
Okay. Yeah, you know, my subject, the rectum. Well, let's go ahead and, you know,
Which,
paint the picture for our listeners. Okay, there was a young couple, right, who were using drugs, experimenting with drugs. Okay, you go ahead and you can tell the story.
yeah, they were experimenting with drugs, and you could say they're a couple. They were barely a couple. They were in high school. They're a
Okay.
high school couple. Uh, however fleeting, I can't even say the word now.
Fleetingly?
Fleetingly temporary that relationship might be.
Sure.
They decided to. That I guess they've heard of butt chugging and
Right.
because you get drunk really fast. So they decided that it'd be a great idea to put drugs up your butt.
A suppository through the rectal walls.
Yeah, because then you'll get stoned really fast, right?
Okay.
And
What kind of drugs, Cerberus?
methamphetamines.
Meth, you know, a very dangerous drug to begin with. Ice.
And well, it wasn't there was a whole lot of panic in the mom. Like I had the two basics that were with me dealing with the mom, trying to get information from them.
Right.
I was trying to keep her calm, the girlfriend calm.
Okay.
Because I guess she didn't chicken out. She didn't go through with it.
Okay, who is in the most direst position?
Oh, definitely. Well, the guy, he was
The male.
The male. I ended up. He was out cold when we showed up. He wasn't
Right.
moving. Still had a heartbeat. All the sorts of signs of life. Barely. He was starting to turn blue because.
Oh my god! Because
I
breathing.
guess he was taking shallow breaths. So we threw him in the ambulance. We threw her in the ambulance because she'd been doing drugs, just not rectally yet.
Right.
And about halfway there, he decided to quit on us. So
okay.
we brought him back.
Arrest.
Yeah, we brought him back, and I was like, you know what? Even if we get him to the hospital, I have to get this stuff out of his butt.
Right.
I can't leave it there. He's just getting a larger dose every second.
Okay, well, just crossing my mind, Cerberus. How did you learn that these guys were doing that? Did the mom tell you, or the girl tell you, or
girlfriend?
The girl told you my boyfriend has been putting the drugs into his rear end.
Yeah.
Okay, and then professionally, you don't say get out of here. You just accept it on face value.
Yeah, there's.
I'm just trying to go through the mindset of a first responder. I mean, what the hell? If I show up and somebody says they did that, I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? But in your case, you take them seriously.
Yeah, and when you have someone that's in a panic about someone they care about,
right?
It's usually a safe bet to take their word for it.
Okay.
It's much more likely that if you're dealing with a person about something about them, they're much more likely to lie about it than someone close to them is.
Right. Truly. Okay. So, let's get back to the action here. Okay, you just flip this guy on his stomach and put a glove on and dig in there, or what? No glove.
I put a glove on. We keep, petroleum gel, a bunch of stuff for like lung puncture
lubrication. Right.
It's not strictly for lubrication. It's for help making seals like around like lung puncture wounds and stuff.
Right.
But they have jelly on them.
Okay.
So I used that for lubricant, and I basically had to use one hand to go in and the other hand to help push it in.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Have you ever done that before?
No.
In a professional. Okay. All
Professional,
right.
professional, never. That was the first time.
Okay. So, oh my God. All right. So you're doing that, and like, how far did you have to go into this kid's rectum?
I think the more important part is I had to go in 3 times.
Oh, okay. To dig it all out.
Yeah. The first 2 times I didn't have to go in very far to feel some and pull out, but I went in the 3rd time just to make sure.
Right.
And he took some damage from that, but it was better than the damage he was taking.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you this: how much did he? I'm pretty sure he was whacked out of his mind. How much did he stick up there? I'm
Oh
pretty sure he's
man,
whacked out of his mind. Like,
it was
were you, okay?
well. Meth is pretty strong, so a small amount's a pretty high dose.
Sure.
But I would say, really, just a few grams, probably.
Oh my goodness.
But way too much. Like if you were smoking it, I'm pretty sure that's way too much.
Okay.
I've never done meth, so I don't know the
The only
dosages
other
for that.
people I know that do this sort of stuff are prisoners, right? Because they're like sneaking stuff into the jail.
Yeah, they don't do in prison. Meth isn't as much of a problem as in like pills and stuff. It's hard to get needles. It's hard to get things to smoke. So usually in prison they sneak in pills.
Right. Okay. You get to the hospital and you save this kid's life.
Yeah, last I heard he was doing fine. He was back at home, and he managed not to get arrested, so that's good.
That's all good. Okay. Did anybody thank you for what you did?
His mom thanked me for what I did.
All
He
right.
was none too pleased to find out that a man had his hand up his butt.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's beside the point, saving his life. Okay. If this was your child, Cerberus, I mean, how would you approach this? How would you explain to him how dire this was and how he needs to correct his life?
Like I'm not even sure how I would approach that to start with. Like, you had such a bad drug habit that you had to be fisted on the way to the hospital. Like,
Okay. How old was the kid?
if I remember correctly, 17.
17 years old. I mean, I guess I would impress upon the youth, how much life he has still to live, And there's like so much more to life than doing crazy things like that.
Yeah, and I know some people that I know on here is going to get upset with me saying this, but just saying no is a good policy until you're 18.
Okay.
Yeah, allow yourself to be smart enough to do it the right way,
Right.
instead of doing it the wrong way too early.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Just my own thinking. Like, you feel pretty proud of yourself for saving that person's life? I would.
Yeah, actually, I don't usually get a whole lot of pride unless it's something like really off the wall or difficult.
Why
But
not?
yeah, well, I mean, a lot of things just kind of become mundane, right? If I was
Really?
ecstatically, if I was just completely full of myself every time I showed up to a diabetic needing some glucose, I would be insufferable to live with.
Okay. Okay, how often do you see somebody who's shot?
Uh, yeah, it's
What's
not very.
monthly?
Well, that's shot? Not really. It's not that
Okay.
common. Probably only about 3 times a year, maybe 4.
Well, the thing is, I'm from Texas, so, shootings all over the place. All right, well, I mean,
No. Well,
is there some sort of, like,
there is provision to that when a few times a year, for whatever reason, usually because of crime. They have a bunch of people quit in Pekin, which is a relatively good-sized town not too far from me.
Okay.
They have a lot of gang violence. And then on those years that I end up going up there or volunteering for that part of the county,
Right.
uh, I'll see, a gunshot wound a day.
Yeah. Seriously.
And actually, that was like the correction. The other scary story that I was thinking about telling you. This is probably a scarier situation.
Okay.
It's the time I got shot at,
Oh my.
and there was this, for whatever reason. Well, I know the reason. I shouldn't say that. These gang members would start, these different gangs would start killing each other. They break into each other's homes or, family members' homes or whatever.
Retaliation. Yeah. Vendetta.
Retaliation or, even if they were starting the fight, what they would do is they wanted them to die, but they didn't want it to be quick. So they would, like, shoot them in the stomach or shoot them in both of the legs so they would bleed out.
Oh my.
Probably. But it wouldn't be very fast.
Right.
And, what would normally happen, what was going on, is they would do that to those people, cut phone lines, whatever. Someone would call the police eventually.
Right.
Or the police would hear it, or something would happen. Or we would get called because someone saw someone crawling out of a house.
Oh my. Yeah.
Something like that. We would show up. The ambulance drivers would show up. And what was going on is these people that were shooting these people in their homes would wait outside. Because if the emergency personnel showed up, they could keep them from dying. So what they would do is they would shoot the emergency personnel.
Oh God, that's incredible. So you showed up and they start shooting at you?
Yeah, I got out of the passenger side. Luckily for me, gangsters don't know how to shoot guns. There was one shot, and
knock on wood.
And stupid me, I'm not suspecting it. I deal with guns all the time. I own guns, and I'm just like, was that a gun? What was that? What was that noise? And then I heard another one. I'm like, wait, that's a gun shooting at me because I see it hit the ambulance.
Right.
So then I dive under the ambulance and crawl to the other side, like up under the curb because the curb comes up.
Right.
And I'm there. I think he gets more than a clip out because I remember he reloaded for some reason.
Damn.
And before the cops show up because the cops are right behind us. But that's the day I signed up to take TAPS courses, which is Tactical Assistance Personnel.
Okay.
Which is basically armed paramedics.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they're usually used for like SWAT teams and stuff. For when SWAT teams go into big buildings, they don't have to wait to be rescued.
All right.
So they'll have a medic right there in the squad.
Yeah, it's like an army thing. Okay.
Yeah. And when I'm at Pekin, they allow people with TAP certification to carry firearms on duty. So I carry my firearm on duty there. I can't do it normally where I work, but over there I wear one all the time.
I can imagine. I mean, that's just, isn't that like so barbaric? That's the thing that crosses my mind. It's like, here you are with it's the Hippocratic Oath, right? To only aid somebody to live, and then they shoot at you.
Well, yeah, like, I understand that you want the guy dead inside the house, but then why did you just shoot him? Why are you shooting at me?
I know, it's
like, not that I want you to shoot him, but don't shoot at me. I prefer you not to shoot at me.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, just that, to end our wonderful interview. Has you ever been, commemorated or awarded any sort of awards, thank for your duty yet?
I got 1 Medal of Honor and 2 braveries in the line of duty.
That is awesome.
I have more Purple Hearts than I think I should because my department gives them out like candy for every little thing. But if I was in the military service, I have 1 Purple Heart.
For sure.
Like for their standards.
Oh, I think even for being stabbed in the ass. I mean,
I'm going to get one for that, I'm sure. But I've had my my face mask, my scuba mask for going into fires when I was a firefighter.
Uh-huh.
I've had that caught on fire before,
Oh man.
go up in flames, and all I really got was kind of a minor burn on my face from it being too hot,
Right.
and they gave me one for that, and I don't really think, I was happy.
Well,
Sure, give me Purple Heart. I'm happy with getting a Purple Heart, but I don't know if that really deserves it.
well, I tell you this, I'm just glad you showed up. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can't. I know there's a lot of people that can't handle that job. But we have people like you, Cerberus, who day in day out, right, keep showing up.
And hopefully, when my children are old enough, I get to go back to it because I miss it. Now I'm just a paramedic. I I was on the fire crew up until actually just a few months ago.
Okay, what's the difference?
Well, the fire crew will go into fires. That's the biggest difference. Most people on the fire crew aren't paramedics. They're usually classified EMT first responder or EMT basic.
Okay,
And the big difference in that is, the paramedics can shock you. They can give you drugs in the ambulance. They can give you. They're basically a doctor on wheels.
right.
And I mean, a basic can really only shock you, and they can shock you with assistance. They're not allowed to use like the full system. They use like the automated things,
Okay, a
but that's
lot
about
of
that's about it. Like they can't do very much.
a lot of females are EMTs.
Yeah, usually it's probably going to sound terrible to most feminists. Most women can't make it through the training for firemen, and that's just simply because they're small, like
Physically.
physically, and so a lot of them end up being EMTs, paramedics, which is fine
What
because they still go on fire departments. They just don't run into buildings.
what if I told you there's another former firewoman EMT in our community? You know her?
If it's a firewoman, I don't know, but are you
Her
talking
name is
about?
Sugar Rhodes.
Yeah, she's paramedic. Yeah,
Okay, so she made it.
yeah, she wasn't on a fire crew though. She
Oh,
was.
she wasn't? All
She was.
right.
I don't think she was. She might have been on a fire department,
So
but
you're not alone in your capacity. There's also somebody else who knows
yeah,
in the community.
and we've sit around and talked about stuff we've had to deal with before.
Right. Okay, so you meet these guys who are just sitting around drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and, talking all big, but you realize that, the second they see a little bit of blood, they'd faint.
Well, yeah, well, it's the same thing for a soldier. Like, a soldier sees some real shit and they come back to the United States and there's some punk talking about how big he is.
Right.
And you're just like, yeah, no, you got nothing.
You got nothing. You got nothing, punk. Oh, well. This has been a great interview, Cerberus. Can I ask you to, stick around and hang out for the audience participant part a little bit?
Yeah, I got about an hour before I have to
All
go.
right. Okay, let me go ahead and take a quick break for all of us. And thanks a lot, Cerberus. Great interview. Hold on. Hello, how you doing?
Is this lyrical?
Looks like a lyrical.
Yeah, am I the only one who's gonna join? Oh man.
Yeah. You're the first. I'm just sending out the invites right now.
All right.
How you been doing, honey?
Good. Nice. Yeah, I'd love to talk more to Cerberus, but I was hoping we get some more people.
Oh, they're coming. So, have you ever known a first responder lyrical?
I have. I used to date one actually.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Um, they're heroic people, don't you think?
I well, yeah, I do think that they're heroic type of people, and they're definitely what I would say like the least squeamish people.
Right. That was crossing my mind the whole time.
Where I
So,
am like the most squeamish person on earth. Yeah. But I do give them a lot of credit because, even though I just dated this person for a little while, like I don't know, it was he taught me about like seatbelt safety and different things that I still remember to this
seatbelt
day.
safety.
It's like how to wear a seatbelt, it's like I don't know. It was sweet, but I could never do that type of job ever. Mm-mm.
Too much blood.
It's because exactly I think about blood or I see blood or I'm like the type of person that would go into shock really, really easily, I think. Just my personality is like that. Like even today I was listening to somebody tell a story about oh gosh, blood and just gore and like that type of stuff. And I found myself like I was banging on my knees, like just like rubbing them like back and forth, like calm down, like
Ugh.
it just makes me uncomfortable to even think about it.
Well, Cerberus, are you there? Is it your wife the same way or not?
With no, she's a nurse.
Oh, okay. So she's a veteran too, as far as, seeing wiped out people.
Yeah, that's how I met her. I had some puncture wounds, some very minor puncture wounds, and I was being a terrible patient. She put me in my place, and then I asked her out.
So, there's so many benefits. How did you even get into the thing in the first place? You just decided to do it, or you always had a hankering to be, into first response?
Oh, drugs. It was totally drugs.
Drugs.
I had a really good EMT experience, and I decided to not go into economics to go into firefighting.
All right. Like, you're a big guy, right? How big are you?
I'm 6'2", about somewhere between 230 and 240 pounds.
So yeah, I mean, they're gonna say, hey, you're better as like a first responder than an accountant.
Well, I hope so, because if I'm not, I would have been one hell of an accountant, and I would have been a lot richer than I am now.
Okay. Well, all right. You get a lot of satisfaction from saving people's lives, right?
Yeah, I do.
Um, I could see like, well, then this crosses my mind. Did you have like a one bad experience and it like you wanted to quit, or you just don't have that spirit in you of quitting?
No, I've never really quit much of anything, and that's not really because I'm not a quitter in spirit. That's more because I don't get into something if I don't think I can already handle it.
Okay. Like, did you and a buddy, or you just went in by yourself?
Yeah, most of my friends at the time that I had in college were in similar fields to me. See,
Hmm.
I kind of just I didn't leave my group of friends. I still had my friends, but I kind of did it all on my own.
All right. Um, and then you just now 6 years later, and you're still doing it.
It's longer than that if you count my volunteer time, but yeah.
Okay. Um, you've never burnt out. Why not?
Uh, I don't. It's just in. some people to not really. I imagine if I had, maybe it's just because I'm lucky, because the district I am is about 70% rural area.
Yeah.
So you'll have the occasional heart attack or the occasional diabetic thing, or there might be a fire, but we don't have bad days in a row repeatedly.
Okay. So
But
that helps.
we get breaks. So we'll have a couple bad days in a week, and then we might not have a real bad day for a couple weeks, and so we get our little vacation while we're at work.
Okay. What do you think about people that do quit, that do burn out? Do you have hard feelings against them, or you understand?
No, I don't have any hard feelings against them. I can see where they're coming from, especially if they're in a real urban environment, because being mostly rural, we might go on one medical call, two medical calls a shift.
Right.
Where, like, say if you're in Peoria, which is probably one of the biggest towns near me, a crew will go on 10, 12 calls a night.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually kind of envy the experience, but I wouldn't want to do that every day.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You have to have a particular temperament, don't you, to work in that capacity?
You have to know already how to let some stuff go.
Like, you can't be an angry person.
Yeah, you can't be angry because you're going to bring that to your work and you're not going to do your job right.
Okay.
Like that guy that stabbed me in the leg.
Right.
Even though he stabbed me in the leg, it would not be appropriate for me to start wailing on him.
But it happens, right? I mean, that happens. It hurts the policeman. Policemen, the needle hits zero and they take it out on their suspect.
Yeah, that's what I never get. Like, my job is, as far as statistics go, actually more dangerous.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely.
And you don't hear news of EMTs going crazy and killing people?
Okay. You know how we want to have body cameras now for cops because we're having, all the revelations we've had, since the, surveillance. We can see what cops are doing. I mean, has they ever approached you that you guys have to wear body cams?
Paramedics, no. We have multiple cameras on our ambulances, but that's not for state regulation. That's just, we had the money to do it. We thought it was a good idea, so we did it. Illinois is actually kind of going in reverse. It's become illegal recently. We can still film cops if they come up to your vehicle while they're in public, but we're not allowed to film cops while they're in their vehicle.
Interesting. Have you ever, wanted to have a body cam on you just to play it safe?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of time. Because, every time something like that happens, I get stabbed, I have to go to court now.
Right. Has anybody ever accused you of,
no, I've never been in any serious trouble. I've always, been a witness.
Yeah.
But it would be nice just to be like, I can tell you what happened, or you could just have this camera.
Truly. I mean, okay, just a hypothetical. If you saw some cop being abusive, would you report it, or would there be a thin blue line?
No. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but cops and firefighters generally do not get along.
I didn't know that. Why not?
The general sentiment I've heard, and I actually kind of feel myself, is that when a firefighter or a paramedic shows up, we are not there to ever get you into trouble. You've done some drugs. We're not allowed to tell the police if you tell us. We're only there to help you. Odds are, if a cop shows up, he's there to get you in trouble.
Right. He wants to arrest you.
Yeah, he's even if you're innocent, he's looking to see if he can arrest you. He's trying to see if you've done something.
Okay.
So we kind of got the feeling that we're there to help people, and they're there to get people in trouble.
Right. So they don't like you guys.
Yeah, no, but we generally, it's usually civil. Every once in a while there might be a yelling match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to make it a habit when I saw a cop start reaching into guys' pockets.
Right.
I would yell out, if they were to cross the road or if I was in like a living room with them, I'm like, "You can't do that!" And I tell the guy, like, he can't do that unless you let him do that, right?
Oh my.
That would
Yeah,
piss cops off a
that
lot.
wouldn't endear you to many cops.
Now that I'm an officer, whenever I show up on scene in Illinois, if the fire department is called and shows up, they are in charge above the police.
Interesting. I didn't know
So,
that.
being a lieutenant, I always give cops the duty of managing traffic on purpose.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of my
Get out of
way.
here, buddy. Go manage traffic.
It's not even so much they want to be in charge. It's more like they want to show up and just kind of stand there and do nothing. So I make sure to give them the most tedious, boring job that we have, far away from each other. It's like separating kids in class.
Well, let me ask you this, Cerberus. Do you like carrying a firearm? Do you feel a lot better?
Depends on where I am.
Okay.
I don't. Now that Illinois has concealed carry, I have a concealed carry license. I generally don't go anywhere armed. If
Except
I'm
that pecan
Yeah.
place, right?
Well, yeah, unless I'm like working in Pekin, then
Pekin.
I'll go armed to work. I'm usually armed around my property because we have problems with people trying to break in, getting anhydrous for meth, different things like that, getting chemicals from the farm.
Didn't you have a break-in problem? One
Yeah,
time?
I've had 2 break-ins in the last 5 years, and I recently caught some guy a couple of weeks ago trying to break into my car.
Okay. Well, what happened there? Just a kid causing trouble?
No, late 20s. I'm around my age. Actually, I don't know if he was high or not, but he didn't hear me come out of my garage,
Right.
and I broke his jaw
Oh my God. With what? Your fist or a
with my fist.
stick or what? Oh man. So, I mean, then the cops came, right?
Well, yeah, quite a while later after I already had the guy subdued, but
Oh my God. You
the
beat
cops
on him
did
for a
show
while.
up. See, this is another reason why fire departments don't get along with cops. Let's say a fire or an ambulance response time to my house would be about 4 minutes.
Right.
Cop response time is about 21. That's why I walk around armed, because by the time the cops find out what's going on, everything's already happened.
Okay. The gun problem in America. All right. You obviously are the proper way, the envisioned way that we should have guns handled, right? Somebody, who needs to be armed because they live in a remote area, right? Or an area that takes quite a while for cops to get to. But then we have these people that have 15 assault rifles. I mean, how do you feel about it? That we should get rid of guns?
See, I don't want to get rid of guns. I am for gun control, but like in very specific circumstances. But
All right.
usually, if I get into an argument about owning guns, my only real position is I shouldn't have to not have them because, bad people use them the wrong way. Why
Okay.
am I being punished because someone that shouldn't have one has one?
All right. Having one. I mean, how many guns do we need here in America? I mean, isn't there like 20 guns for every one American now?
Yeah, it's something ridiculous like that. There's
I think there's like 280 million,
there's
around 300 million guns, something like that.
like I have quite a few, but I inherited most of mine. I probably wouldn't have bought as many as I have.
Okay. Australia got rid of their guns. You know this?
Yeah.
Okay. Should that happen here?
No.
Why not? They had a gun problem, right?
But they had the same problem everyone else has. They have a poverty problem.
Okay. So you look at the socioeconomic things, not so much that there's all these weapons of death saturating our country.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's weapons, drugs. Most of these things become problems because of poor areas. Because
All right.
people don't have access to education. They don't have access to food, even, or shelter. Some people just have to break into homes, otherwise they starve to death.
Okay, so you get like a McDonald's of gun companies, right, or something. Like I'm trying to think of some gun, Toys R Us for guns, and they just crank out really cheap guns. Don't they have like something called the Circle of Fire in the California area where these gun companies just put out cheap weapons and just flood the country with guns?
I mean, High Point's really known for pumping out a bunch of really cheap guns.
Companies like High Point should go away, right?
Yeah, I mean, to start with, they're making guns specifically. Most guns High Points make are easily accessible because of how cheap they are to people that will do crime with them.
Right.
And they're not good. I mean, I've had one of their carbines blow up in my hands. No damage to me, but I've had the chambers blow out of the gun.
Right.
They're not well made.
Okay.
You can buy a used High Point for like $20 here.
Now, I know this is an easy question, but you're not shocked when you go to some crime scene, right, and some guy had an AK-47 here in America? You're not shocked?
I mean, I would be a little bit if it was like a real like AK-47. Like if you're talking about like the more modern like updated versions, yeah, not really. They're fairly common.
I mean, isn't it like to the point we're in America where we can have gun violence and then like they're using AK-47s here in the streets of America? You ever find that appalling?
No, that's the thing. They're not really AKs. They're not automatic.
Well, they're good enough.
Well, yeah, they're good enough, but that's the thing. Like, it was the big contention about people were calling these guns assault rifles. When assault rifles are automatic, they have all these other features, and they were kind of pointing out like the AR-15s, which essentially is the same thing as your grandfather's semi-automatic rifle. It just looks modern.
Okay.
Which, if you want to say you want to get rid of them, have your opinion. I'm okay with that, but just be consistent with what you're saying. You're going to tell me I can't have the AR-15, but I can have my grandfather's semi-automatic like 308.
Okay, President Bunto elected 2016, and he passed executive order to start rounding up, these High Point crap guns. You would have no problems with that?
No, I might have a problem with you rounding them up. I would have much less of a problem with you stopping production.
Okay, so President Bunto, I understand these are crap, but if you get rid of the companies, that's better than Roundup.
Yeah, most of these guns, the ones that are used in crime, they get picked up, they get scrapped. Most of the ones you would be rounding them up would be from people who have them lawfully and haven't used them for anything wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, if you want to go stop the cheap guns, like the bad productions, then yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. Right now, the first thing in our presidential election for 2016 is Donald Trump, right? And he brought up I think it's a pretty salient point about this illegal alien who killed the person. And you know that story in San Francisco?
No, I don't.
Anyone here on the panel know about that story? It's been this week. This Mexican national came over and, killed a completely innocent tourist. And he's been kicked out of our country like 9 times. Anyone know that?
What's that got to do with Donald Trump?
Well, Donald Trump jumped, on the opportunity to say how messed up the thinking was of San Francisco to allow, they're like one of these sanctuary cities, which means that they protect, illegals in that, from any sort of scrutiny from the database. That they could have found out that this guy was, a baddie. So he brought it up to saying that is a crap law, right? And a lot of people, now he's soared to the number 2 position as far as, the Republican runners for the nomination. Like he's banking on the obvious. That's what I'm trying to bring up. That you know, there is a, what would you say, faction of illegals that come into this country that are criminals, correct? And I guess they go to cities where you can't touch them.
I'm sure there are, but that's what I don't get. Like, okay, you said this guy has been deported multiple times.
Yes.
Like, if he's committing crimes, why? I mean, you're deporting him to Mexico. That's probably not going to throw him in jail. Why wouldn't you just throw him in jail?
Right. What do you think of the city, the municipality, preventing law enforcement to get to the bottom of this guy's criminal past?
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, maybe their goal is to stop persecution, but
That's their goal.
I think in the situations where you have verified criminals who are also illegal, then you should let the cops do their job.
Right. Okay, we have a problem here in Texas. Let me see if I can segue this. Where, Austin has a tremendously large homeless community because other Texas towns give them a bus ticket here to Austin. You know what I mean? It's sort of like
Wow.
and then we pay, the taxpayers have to pay for, the upkeep. But, I mean,
Wait, you're telling me I can get a free ticket to Austin anytime I want?
you go to Abilene and be your regular self, and they'll give you a bus to get your ass over to Austin. Get it out of here. Towns like Abilene, Lubbock.
Next time I'm in Texas, dude, I'll try and do that. I like
So,
Austin. Austin's the only cool city in Texas.
Right.
Man.
We're very liberal. I'm pretty sure we're probably, closely aligned with that sanctuary city policy. Do any of you feel like now, we want to get a little bit harder on the type of crime that comes out from the South? Anyone?
I don't think
pathetic South.
Go ahead.
I don't know what's going on in the South that we need to get so hard.
Well, I meant like, coming from the South. That's that sound you hear from Mexico. That's what I meant.
I think Donald Trump should build a huge electric fence all the way running around.
Well,
If anyone cross over it, they should execute them on sight.
Now I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
We'll talk.
I believe that was the position of McCain, remember, in 2008, that he wanted to build an extensive wall across our border with Mexico.
Yeah, I do believe that Bush did support that bill when it was passed. I mean, Bush W, whatever. But nothing ever came to fruition on it. I don't think it's getting any funding now. I mean, if we went to the the, what's it called? The Federal Register, where it gives that type of information, we'd probably find out that it was stole.
Okay. Our borders are too porous, yes or no?
Yeah, but I don't understand why we just don't have immigration centers.
Okay.
Like we used to have on Easter Island. Why don't we just put up like 5 or 6 of those along the border?
Okay, well, describe that concept. I'm not quite sure how that works.
Well, instead of coming into the country illegally and then being, I mean, I understand that they're probably going to get like a farm job or something where they're not going to get paid very well, or they'll get hired in a factory where they're going to get abused and they're not going to get their rights taken care of. They'll work terrible hours, whatever. Why don't we just have an immigration center that we check them in, we check their background if we can find their background, we make sure that they're going to a place to go live, like they have a place to go. And if that's all clean, then just citizenize them.
Sounds practical. I mean, they're contributing to our economy, aren't they?
Yeah. A lot of the times, they're contributing to the economy a lot of the times when they're not even eligible to take anything out of it.
Okay. People that don't like Latins, okay, Latin Americans, aren't they the ones that are always talking about seceding from the Union?
Generally, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, what do they not like about America? Anyone? I mean, I've encountered some fire eaters lately.
Wait, what was your question, Bunto? Because I'm not sure.
Okay, people that want to secede from America, right? You know, they want states' rights. They want to fly their Confederate flag over their house, so forth. Don't like Latin Americans.
Okay.
Go ahead.
They don't like.
All right. So wanting states' rights is a bad thing. Okay. I hear you. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I mean, it's interesting that these people, you know, want states' rights, want to secede from the Union, you know, want, you know, the South shall rise again, and they don't like, you know, immigrants. Anyone else notice that?
I've been to Texas, and I went into we were on our way to an anime convention, and we walk into a gas station in Texas. Nothing but immigrants work there, and it's full of racist stickers that you can buy. Like if one had the American country on it and said, "We are full, keep the heck out."
Right.
And there was literally nothing but immigrants that work there, and I'm like, how do you guys not find this offensive?
Because there are a bunch of retarded assholes who think that listen, these people are not very bright. The country they live in is a melting pot to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
We you know way back when we you know, the so-called Americans basically infiltrated the Native Indians.
Okay.
And all they can think about is like, go back to where you came from, and like, you know, turn around and ask them, where did you come from? Where was your grandmother born? You know, these Confederate flag flying fucking dickheads are a bunch of fucking white supremacist assholes.
On the whole.
Yeah, on the whole.
I mean, I haven't seen very many African Americans standing up for the Confederate flag. Have you guys?
There's always a group of whatever section of society that hates everyone else, regardless of if it's white or black or Christian, whatever sort of philosophy or whatever. They're going to hate everyone else. It's normal.
Okay. So
there's a lot of white people that love blacks down in the South, dude. They love the mixture, you know, the multicultural aspects, you know. Just to label everyone in the South as a hick is ridiculous, just as much as it's...
Those are the guys that aren't asking for the Confederate flag to stay up, right? I mean, should that flag come down, or...
I don't. For me personally, I don't see any reason why anyone can't wave whatever frickin' flag they want to.
Yeah, I mean, to me it seems ridiculous. I mean...
To take the flag down?
Yeah, to take a flag down just because someone gets offended by it. Why not take the American flag down when an Indian radical walks by and says something about Trail of Tears and demands the flag be taken down? No one does that.
It's the reason why they're flying it. It's what it actually stands for.
Yeah,
now,
but
if it was a piece of history and they wanted to fly because they wanted, you know,
well, wouldn't you say?
Just to understand the history of this United States and the Confederate flag and all that as a piece of the historian. But what they're doing it for is not that. What they're doing it for is because they're still pissed off that they lost the Civil War.
Right.
Lyrical? So you guys think that the Confederate flag, is that, I mean, do you guys really think that should be held to the same standard as state flags or federal flag? I mean...
It should be held to the same standard as any flag. For that matter, it's a flag.
No,
yeah, wave around a swastika if you want. Who cares?
Yeah.
There are standards to flags, okay? So
our freedom is limited. I understand now.
Wave around a huge flag with peace.
No,
right? Just big flag, right?
Based on how we hold standard to flags, okay? How we hold standard to flags is the fact that, one, the Confederate flag doesn't hold any value in this nation anymore. So the fact that anybody would fly it holds a symbolic value. And the symbolic value is racism, you know.
Right.
And
if you heard what they were talking about during the session of discussion of the reason why they wanted to keep the flag up, the people who were standing up for it, you would hear them actually say, in other words, these people are still pissed off because I can't have slaves. And these are the kind of people we're dealing with.
Truly. Okay, well, let's just talk about it. The community wants to go to a better place usually, right? The community wants to progress towards more harmony. Could we all agree at that? At least here in America, right? I mean, compare us to the Middle East. We're trying to go towards harmony. I go to the... Right, okay, well,
Generally speaking, yeah.
If I was in Iran, I'd probably be on the cherry picker hanging tomorrow. Okay, listen. I go to my town square, right, and I set up my atheist stand, right? Hey, everybody, there's no God. Quit believing bullshit. And then, I take a break for lunch, and I come back, and my stand's taken down. Right, Patrick? Isn't that the way the community sees it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the same thing. There's similarities, but if you know what the history is, and you know what they're saying, and you know that the people that are out in the courtroom talking about why we want this flag to stay up and what they're boasting about, you realize that these are white supremacist dickheads insisting that their flag still fly.
Okay, this is the thing. I don't think it should fly at the Capitol buildings in states or maybe your city capital. I prefer if someone wants to put the flag up in their yard to let them do it because I want to know where those people are.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You want to fly a Confederate flag, in your backyard, whatever. And in fact, it should be in museums. It should be even displayed as a lower type flag. It's the American flag with the stars and stripes is the one that we are living by. That's the one that belongs on the top of the flagpole.
But here's
the Confederate flag underneath of it. That's fine. The thing is that they're trying to fly it as if it was the one that they're going by, and they want to be at the top of the flagpole, and they want to promote their white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't have. I've been boasting about this 2-bit certificate for a couple of days now. Lyrics knows about it. And I think it's starting to earn its bragging rights, especially in a hangout like this. I'm gonna go ahead and
show
it again. Okay, there's a reason why I have this.
Okay, certificate of appreciation. Let me go ahead and serve it. Okay. Thank you for taking a stand.
Pat is a certified non-racist.
That's right. Now, I know this is a 2-bit certificate that I got for just signing my name on the wall, okay? But for the last week or so, I've been bragging about this.
Right. Rightly so.
Yeah.
So, how'd you get that?
What exactly were we looking at?
It's a certification for not being a racist.
When people say, I'm not a racist, I can say, I'm not a racist, and I can certify it.
I would worry.
You were so worried about it, dude, that you had to go get a piece of paper from someone saying that you're not.
No.
What's going on? What's going on?
What happened was a couple of years back when they had those riots in Alabama and there was all that shit going on. These are the people. This is the Southern Poverty Law Center who identifies hate groups throughout the country. And
right.
there's a map. You could actually go there right now and see the map. And there's 40 of them in New Jersey, and a couple of them are in my own town, including the skinheads. So they identify the race, they identify the racists and the hate groups, and they let everybody know that these people are on the hate list, and they show you a map of where they are. And that's the list that I'm on.
America is more segregated and divided than I ever thought. That is profound.
I don't think so. I mean, the 50s were a terrible time. They had drinking fountains for colored people, bathrooms for colored people. I don't think we're as segregated as the 50s. Schools, right? College.
Okay, you can stop presenting.
The fact that he feels that way, and the fact that he can't act out.
But shouldn't everybody want to have a certificate that says they're not a racist?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this is the fight against hatred. It's to show that I'm not a white supremacist fucking dickhead. And, you know, I don't go around flying the
He needs
Confederate
a
flag.
he needs a certificate of anti. Oh my God.
Hey,
Well,
I
why
didn't need
not?
it. It's just that it's something I did a couple years ago during the riots in Alabama, and I was part of it. I signed my name on the electronic wall that they're talking about, and I didn't ask for the certificate. They sent it to me after doing it. So I said, okay. I had it tagged. I had it magnetized to my refrigerator for like 2 or 3 years, and like less than a week ago, I went to Walmart and bought a $1.88 frame and framed it.
Still, but you would think like, well, to tell you the truth, Urkel, I know there's some people who could never get a certificate saying that they're not a racist. They just are.
Yeah, like there's nobody that actually flies the Confederate flag that can get that certificate.
Right.
There's no fakers.
Okay. Isn't that the same thing with, like, you know, being a pastor of a church and not believing in God? I mean, how the hell can you, you know, fly the stars and bars and say you're not a racist? I mean, I don't see black people wanting that flag to stay up. Do you?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not from anywhere near the South. Someone
Well,
has to know here.
I mean, well,
I live
from
in the
my view.
South, and I don't care at all, dude.
Oh, you don't care? Well, okay. The South in the Civil War were traitors that were treacherous to
Sure,
Union.
I guess they
Wanted
were,
to
yeah.
sink it. I guess they were, weren't they?
I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not on the other guy's side as much as I am on these guys' side. So
You weren't on the Union side in Civil War.
no, I don't care. I'm not a Union or Confederate. You're all a bunch of morons.
Well, okay. Cerberus, you're a Native American, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Slavery, yes, no. Going Roy Montero on you. Okay.
Of course, no.
All right. So you were, of course, on the Union side, right? Or you know.
In fact, the property I live on was given to my family from Lincoln for serving in the Civil War.
Oh, see. Okay. Or else would you say, well, since I'm a Native American, I don't give a shit what other side, which side won that
Wait,
war.
do you have a certificate for that? I'm just kidding.
Actually, I do. It's signed by Lincoln.
Do you think
cool
that,
Cool. It's got to be a lot cooler than my certificate.
you think the Confederate soldiers believed in slavery and were fighting to make sure that slavery was still around? The
I would
soldiers.
say on the
The
whole,
soldiers.
no.
I wouldn't
Most
put
of
it
them are-
exactly that way. Basically, they were fighting for it. They were mad that they couldn't continue to hold slaves.
So the average man was upset about this.
The average Southerner. The average Southerner was upset that the North tried to quell their Confederacy. They were mad because the North supposedly invaded, you know, their country, but they, in my mind, they had no country. They're just a nation of traitors. Not even a nation of traitors, a bunch of traitors. So I would say that the average Joe, they were fighting just because the North wanted to end all that hooey. It wasn't so much for slavery.
I have no doubt. I mean, the average person obviously didn't have slaves, but I have no
Right.
doubt the average person was probably racist and
Right.
probably liked the idea of having slaves in their general area for cheap products.
Right. Wanted the status quo to keep on going.
Well, you, Bunto, here's one for you.
Okay.
You know that I study my genealogy a lot.
Okay.
I have descendants from both sides, from the Union and from the Confederacy. You know, and I have to deal with not just that, but the ancestry of my Native American ancestry, too.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the fact is, they all felt like they had the right. I mean, we have to, just because we have descendancy from certain things doesn't mean that we feel like they have the right to back it up. I mean,
All right. What would of America look like if the South had been successful in their endeavor to separate from the Union?
mm,
They had a movie about it called The Confederate States of America. Anybody see it?
okay, well, tell us then. What
Well, I mean, we got to the point. How many hundreds of years was it after the war ended before we afforded, you know, civil rights towards African Americans? Imagine if that never happened. What would America be like? Imagine if they still had slavery, G-Man probably wouldn't be bothered by it, but I would, right? I would say
You
that,
must not be named.
Dude, it's horrible, man. To think that that's a good thing that slavery was around, it's bad, man. I'm not saying I don't care who was on what side or whatever, but the idea that slavery was taken away from this country was a good thing, man.
good.
You know.
Okay. Today we have, Rick Perry talking about seceding from the Union and, everybody else, all the other Tea Party yahoos that are in charge of Texas. I mean, who are they trying to kid, right? I mean, why are they doing this fire eating at this point in America? Is there any point to it? Talking about seceding from our union?
I would think to try and get some attention for a presidential bid.
Right. Bombast.
Politics as usual, dude.
It's backwards thinking. It's like they're trying to start another civil war.
Truly. Okay, Cerberus, I forgot to ask, are you political?
Yeah, very.
Oh, okay. So what do you think of the Tea Party?
I think they're ruining the name libertarian. That's what I think they're doing.
Oh, you're libertarian?
I'm like an original kind of Russian origin libertarian, not an American libertarian.
What does that mean? You have to explain.
I'm what socialism is supposed to be. I don't think we should have a state or big business. I think businesses that provide necessities should be done cooperatively.
But you also see a problem with the federal aspect of things too, right?
I would if there wasn't any other side.
Well, I mean, if you want states to represent themselves differently, you would also want the federal government to represent itself differently, because there needs to be a synonymous cohesion, so to speak, of efforts, right?
Yeah, the original. I'm getting. Can you mute yourself for a second?
Echo.
Yeah. When I say like the original libertarians, they believed everything should have been done cooperatively.
Right.
If you don't live in your community, you should not govern. You should not govern a community. If you don't live in a country, you should not help govern that country. If you don't, if you work at a company, you should help govern that company. You should be part of the decision making. You should get profits from that company, not just a paycheck.
I wish Jeff Keller was here.
Well, I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's a very libertarian idea. But at the same time, we're not talking about things that are different from our normal, I guess, convention of how we run things. We're talking about the way things are run right now, right?
Well, yeah, but he asked me if I was political. So that was the stance.
I did too. We all want to know whether you...
Yeah, co-op libertarian. The difference between my kind of libertarian and like Jeff Keller,
right.
They call themselves libertarian, but it's a change of the meaning. If you go to Europe and you use the word libertarian, they will describe to you what I am, not what Jeff Keller.
So when you listen to Jeff Keller and he calls himself a libertarian, you say, buddy, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, he's like a free market anarchist.
Okay, interesting.
Oh my God, we get distinction in not religion, but political value as well. I mean, it's fascinating. Basically every individual is going to hold their distinction, and if you don't hold to it, I mean, why do we even want to categorize ourselves with isms?
Because it's fun.
It's easy.
Okay, really what the meta of Lyrical's question was, Cerberus, is are you against our government, yes or no?
Like, if I got to pick, like, how everything was going to be structured, then yes.
Okay.
But as far as things are sitting right now, it could definitely be a lot worse.
People that whine about paying their taxes, they're whiners or they got a point.
This is the thing. I if we were to keep the kind of government we got right now, I would want to change one major thing to the tax system. I wouldn't want to change the amount of taxes you pay. I would want you to pick, let's say they would break up the taxes into categories,
Oh, okay.
and I would like people to pick 3 of those categories to give taxes to. That way, if there's a war that the people don't agree with,
Okay.
the people can just defund the army.
All right.
I gotta say, I don't know about that last army part, or the taxes part. But I gotta say that Cerberus has interesting ideas, and I think what Bunto is asking is kind of like too blunt of a question, and I think Cerberus answered it carefully. In other words, he's not against the government. He thinks it should change, and it sounds like he has actually good ideas. But it would take a major change. It would take almost a revolution, and I don't mean a revolution in a type of a violent one. I mean like a peaceful one. It would take a revolutionary good idea, and it sounds like Cerberus has actually some good ideas.
Yeah, that's the difference between. A lot of people in America have no idea what a communist or a socialist is, and some people say they're the same thing, and some people say they're not. And the people that say they're the same thing are right, but for the wrong reason. We are, at least construction-wise, the exact same thing. The difference is communists want to have a revolution, and the socialist wants to have an evolution.
Okay.
Yeah,
You wanna get into
you're
politics,
basically the socialist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the trouble with the descriptive words, and words can be screwed into something that people want to make them fit into. So when I say revolution, I really mean evolution. A peaceful revolution basically is an evolution.
That is, with one distinction, Russia was never a communist country.
Russia was never a communist country.
They weren't.
That's news to them.
They were a state capitalist country. If you actually go into political science, you will learn the phrase state capitalist. That's what Russia was.
Okay.
Well, I like your idea. Like you said something about if you work for a business or whatever, they're a manufacturer or whatever, you should be part of the decision making, things like that. And these are good ideas. I don't know how easily they would be put that into an actual working model, but it's a radical idea that it's actually thinkable.
Okay, think about it like this, Patrick. If I had some magic dust, and just while everyone was asleep at night, I just flew around the country and threw my magic dust around, and all the CEOs went away, what would actually change? You woke up the next day, went to work. What would change?
Yeah, well, see, what would change was who the fuck is running the company.
But that's the thing. The CEOs don't really run the company, do they? They make the big upper end decisions,
Sure.
which could easily be replaced by a group of people making the decision. It wouldn't affect anyone's day-to-day life, except for obviously the CEOs.
I have to disagree with. But I'm just gonna say that so far, I mean, you have some good ideas. Forget about the magic fairy dust. But it sounds like you have good ideas, and like I said, it would take a major change, and I don't think that kind of change could take place overnight.
Okay. You're against oligarchy or just against capitalism altogether, Cerberus?
I am against money.
Money.
I am against. To me, money is the liquidation of human effort, work, and it kind of turns people into objects, and I don't think it's moral to treat people like objects.
Alrighty, that people get exploited for money.
What about a free money system?
A free money? Mate, I just prefer, at the stage we're at right now, we are more than capable of feeding everyone and giving everyone everything they need.
Okay. Socialism.
Yeah, but an intermedium, we need some sort of intermedium to exchange those goods, right? Even if we have the means to do it, you know what I mean? If it's not.
No, I mean, if you have complete saturation of products, why would you need money?
Well, just as the way that things are set up right now, even if we don't put some sort of like negative context on money, like no sort of interest or anything, just because of the way that it's set up, it's easier to use some sort of outside just thing, money, a dollar, an idea.
Conspicuous consumption. I mean, rich people need to show that they're rich.
It's just an intermediate between products. It makes sense to have one uniformed, idea to be able to exchange all these different goods. I don't see any other way to do it.
That's the thing. You're not exchanging. If you can make enough food to feed everyone 2 times over, if you can make enough TVs that everyone could have 2, 3 TVs, why do you actually need money to exchange those goods?
All right, because here's the answer, dude. Because people will take advantage of a system, and if you give out a certain amount of products and you have a certain amount of money just for those specific amount of products, it's almost near impossible without stealing or anything like this, without illegal activity, to corrupt the system.
Well,
so like if you give me, there's 3 TVs, they're each worth $10 a piece. If you give me $30 allowance or free money towards the buying of those TVs, I can't screw it up unless I do it myself. You know what I mean?
There wouldn't be any. This is the thing. Okay, let's just say instead of getting 3 TVs, one person gets 4, or gets 5. Right? There isn't. In this case, there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to hoard televisions, because when their television broke, they would just go get a new free one.
Right.
I know.
Okay,
but
see, the thing is, Cerberus. I mean, this has got to the point where that's too much control for one particular government to have. I don't know what you're getting at with this TV thing.
Oh, it wouldn't be.
You still need a monetary system because everybody wants different things in different formats. A monetary system simply says that I worked for this amount of goods, and this is a monetary system that says, well, I can buy this amount of goods for this much money. So I don't want 4 TVs. I only want 1 for 1 room, but I also want some other special unit that I want to make my house look pretty with, some kind of special hanging chandelier or something. In other words, it's to tell everybody that everybody gets 2 TVs and a fucking chicken in the plate is ridiculous because not everybody wants the same thing. So that's why we have a monetary system. Not that the monetary system is all that cracked up to be, but the point is that that's why it's there. You can't tell everybody how many TVs they can have. Some people only want 1, some people want 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to go, and yes, lyrics, we can talk about that later if you want to. I'll talk about it with anyone.
Hey, thanks for the great interview, Cerberus.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Take care. Have a good night.
Good to talk to you, sir.
All right. Well, Patrick, we don't want to see kids starve, right?
Of course not.
So that's one good reason to have socialism.
Yeah, I think Cerberus may be onto something, but I think we are, and he's not the first one to think of these things. That this non-monetary system, Gene Roddenberry is
Star Trek.
people to think about that. Sure, everything was non-money. Of course, later shows of Star Trek also talked about gold press latinum. So who's kidding who? But in any case.
I didn't know that.
So socialism cures hunger? That's what the thing is?
Alleviates it.
I don't know if it does.
What's an example of a socialist country?
Of a socialist country that takes care of their own? Sweden, Holland.
Are they? I don't think they're socialist.
European countries. There goes lyrical. Just me and my friends.
I don't know if I would equate those two things. You know what I mean? Socialism and everyone getting what they need.
Right. I mean, there's got to be
individualism.
There's got to be individualism, and I think we're probably 100 or more years away from that. But I certainly Cerberus was entertaining some radically good ideas. Not that you can sprinkle the fairy dust that he's talking about and have it happen overnight. But, but on the other hand, there are things that should be changed, and some of his ideas are good, good ideas to change, and maybe in 100 years or so we can move towards a less monetary system where people are all happy and they get what they want by working for it or whatever. But that's at the moment it's a pipe dream.
Okay, Patrick, we're like way liberal. Could you ever envision voting for a Republican for president?
At the moment, under the current definition of Republican, no.
Did you ever vote for a Republican?
I used to think that I liked Bush until I realized I was being stupid.
Bush baby or Bush poppy?
Baby. Well, both really, but baby. I was really specifically talking about.
Okay, you retired.
I was fooled.
Okay, it was Clinton. You're tired of the Clintonistas, and you didn't want to vote for Gore, so you voted for Bush.
No. I actually didn't vote for a long time, but I was supporting. Right. I a very long time ago, when Clinton was running for president.
Yep.
I actually said that he had the potential for being one of the best presidents we ever had. Now, whether or not he was one of the best presidents we ever had is debatable.
I think he's one of the best presidents we ever had.
and there it is. So I was right in some people's mind, including yours apparently. The fact is that we had a budget surplus in the end of his term.
Right.
And then then the people that didn't like him, the Republicans, found some dirt on him and basically tried to make a fool out of him. We got this fucking warmongering Republican in office. Then later on in the years, we have a black guy with a fucking messed up name, and all the white supremacists come out of the fucking woodwork. And the first thing that the Republicans were saying, and they got up on the podium, was, "Let's not fix the country. The first thing on our agenda is to make this a one-term president." Well, he turned into a two-term president, and they were really pissed. So now they're tooth and nail. They're fighting everything he puts out there. And is he one of the best presidents we ever had? I think he did a lot of good things. I don't agree with everything he did, and I think he can be foolish sometimes. But you know.
Okay.
I'm going to say that he killed Osama bin Laden. So.
Right. I mean, Republicans were nowhere near that. I mean, they let the guy go. Remember, they flew his family out the day after 9/11. Okay, let me ask you this, Patrick. Okay, we're on the verge of having the first female president. Don't you think it's finally?
There was a time until recently that I would say that if push came to shove and certain candidates were the only choices. I would vote for her. However, there's this, what's his name? Sanders?
Trump? Oh, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, the Republican turned Democrat. I saw him tell these people off, and I saw him to be like he's the honest politician, and he's not running under the Republicans anymore because he's tired of them too. If he gets a nomination if he gets the ability to be voted for a nomination as to being a Democratic running for president, I would vote for him first. If he doesn't, and the woman Clinton gets in, I'd probably be forced to vote for her.
Okay, well, how about this? There's like people that say they got to vote for Republican because they're tired of the deadlock, right? I mean, isn't that an asinine way of voting?
Yeah, it is. It is. When you see what the Republicans have been doing, especially because I'm an atheist, for example, and the nonsense and the bullshit that they've been doing on the religious side, especially, they're not even Republicans. They're not the Republicans we remember from when I was a baby. These people are fucking right-wing nuts that they want to tell you that Moses wrote the fucking Constitution. These fucking people are fucking idiots. It's amazing that they even have the political power they have. The people that are Congress.
When McCain selected Palin, I don't think the Republicans have ever recovered from that. Because, yeah, they did go with Romney, but the thing is we knew Romney was just such the most craven person who wanted to be president, right? We know he'd do anything.
And I used to like McCain. I actually did like him. I still do. I mean, he's,
the Maverick, McCain.
Right.
Yeah,
Straight Talk Express.
He has said some stupid shit, but I think some of it was coming from the party and not from him. So I could never vote for him again or think, because of the things he said, but he's definitely not the wingnut that his partiers are.
Okay. Now we have
Fuck him.
Fuck him if you
Donald.
can't take a joke.
Okay, is Donald Trump for real or just way too fucking early?
I think he is for real, but he's a fucking. He's like aliens.
Wouldn't that be lousy, dude?
Might
I
as
mean, it
well
can't
vote
get
that
much
guy. What's
fucking
his name?
worse, dude.
I'm sorry, what?
Might as well, dude. It can't get much worse. I mean, Donald Trump. Who else? Clinton?
Jeb Bush. Another
Jeb
Bush.
Bush. There we
Those
go.
are
There's
the
another
clown.
winner right there.
Like
Those
Dick
clown would
Cheney
be,
and
those of the
Salvin.
clown would be better than Donald Trump.
I say Osama bin Laden for president. Some crazy shit. LaToya Jackson for president.
Okay, you
Nadia,
vote in
Nadia
elections
for
or
president.
not, Lyrics?
Huh?
You vote or you don't?
No, I voted once for a selectman in my county at one particular point, but I just scribbled and shit and went along my day.
So you complain about politics, yet you don't vote.
I have every single right to. How do you like them apples?
How do you have the right to complain if you don't vote?
It was a long time since I voted. It was many
I love
years.
when people say that shit. You don't vote, so you don't get a right to complain. Oh my gosh.
Well, here's what I did. In the interim,
Which lesser evil am I supposed to vote for? Which tyrant am I supposed to vote for so it'll satisfy you enough so I can have an opinion? Who's
Just
the best
go down,
tyrant?
take about 5 minutes to walk in the booth, pull a lever, walk out, and you complain all you want.
So that's it? I just have to make the actions and then I can complain?
well,
Yeah.
here's what I
Bullshit.
did.
It's called
here's what
civic
I did.
duty. The actions are called civic duty.
Yeah, but dude,
I don't blame lyrics. I don't blame lyrics. But here's what I did, because it was like almost 10 years since I had voted, and then this new president-elect, came up, named Obama, and his name was like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is his name so fucked up? Why don't he just change his name? I was like, I didn't know him from nowhere. But then after I got to know him, and I didn't register to vote in time, what I did was all over the internet I was posting these funny satire music videos with him, in support of him,
Sure.
trying to convince people. And sure, I think I made a difference because I was plastering these fucking things all over the place.
show me where the electoral vote decides the presidency.
The electoral vote. Well, no, it's the
Oh
college.
yeah, let me do that real quick. Here, I got it right here, right in my back pocket. Hang on.
All right.
That's what Gore's contention was.
The popular vote does not dictate. I meant the popular vote. The popular vote
But
does
if
not
nobody
dictate.
voted,
Well, I
nobody-
mean,
The electoral
Patrick
vote.
felt like he contributed. Patrick felt like he was
if
part
nobody
of the movement.
voted, I mean, I didn't vote, but I contributed to bending people's ideas.
Bending them to your will.
That parable. What do they call those parodies of Obama, killing Bin Laden and all that and stuff. There was the one with him becoming president, and what's her name? I forgot her name. The beautiful woman who sings like an angel was doing the music, and it was a whole parody thing. And they had this guy that just looked alike. I was plastering that all over the place.
I have a serious question here for you, Bunto. If the popular vote does not decide the presidency, and roughly maybe a quarter of the population votes, what sort of incentive do I have, based on
To
past
vote.
experience, to decide that my vote is worth something? Why should I think that it's going to make any difference?
Because it could be much worse. I mean, it could be like North Korea. So it's good to vote because, if we say, well, enough people don't vote, why do we even need it? See what I mean?
Well, let me put it to you this way, Lyrics. We know that the electoral system can be a little questionable, maybe more than a little. However, let's pretend for a minute that there are 3 people on the planet that are allowed to vote for a president. Okay?
Okay.
And you definitely do not like one person. You know for a fact that he's some kind of criminal. Okay? The other person you're not sure of. But you know in your heart the right person to vote for. And you decide not to vote. can you be sure that the other person's going to vote, or are you going to be sure that only the criminal's going to vote and vote for the person that is his best friend and you're going to destroy the world? In other words, if you bring it down to like just a few people, naturally 7 or more billion people voting is going to make a difference. I mean, it's going to make, it's going to be a small percentage. You're one out of a couple of billion people, But if you think about it in terms of if there's only like 5 people left on the planet, you have to think of it kind of like that way. And if you can't vote, or if you didn't register in time like I did, find some funny way to put your idea out there and hope that somebody catches your idea and votes sort of for you.
All right, I got a better question for you, Pat. Why should I enforce my beliefs onto you through some sort of action set up in our system? Why should I do that?
I'm not saying you should. Voting is not forcing. On the other hand, if you let the last person on Earth vote his way and you don't do anything about it by putting your vote in, you are allowing him to force his way on you.
Your consent is your.
So if I don't vote, then I willingly give up my autonomy in this social structure. So just because I don't want to enforce my will means it's okay for you to enforce yours upon me.
How is voting enforcing my will? My voting is saying this is the way I would like to see.
Yes, the way I would like to see.
And if you disagree, you should be saying, well, I think you're wrong.
What if I say that I don't think that I have a right to tell you what to do?
I'm not following you, Lyrics. I'm not telling I'm not telling you what to do.
You're putting forth an action that helps enforce your will, your ideology, your way of thinking.
How is my way of thinking ideology talking about voting?
Because when you vote in a political system, you're putting forth an action that says that you stand behind this idea, behind this conception of governance over the rest of the citizens involved in the country.
And the rest of the citizens in the country are saying that I think you're wrong and I'm going to vote the other way. That's fine. That's a free society.
Well, what if I choose to say that I think that you should live however you want, Pat, and I don't want to take away nor enforce anything from you. I don't want to put forth an action either way. I would say let you be Pat.
Okay, so don't vote. What can I tell you? I'm just suggesting that if you think about it sort of mathematically, if you round it down to a few people, you realize that your vote actually does make a difference depending on how you think about it. I know that it's not a perfect system, and I know that everybody who's supposed to vote doesn't. I talked over you. What?
I said God is real depending on how you think about it.
How does that work?
I think you're picking a fight with me, Lyrics.
You know what I was noticing during that conversation? It's like, have you guys noticed how the echo cancellation is not working for now a couple of months now? It used to work like about 2 months ago, but now.
I don't know. Google has been fucked up a long time.
I'm not in stereo right now. So
I mute. I mute when I'm finished. But Lyrical was.
Yeah, she was
really
bad.
Yeah, she's probably using her webcam camera. I mean, microphone.
I am too, though, dude.
Like if I turn mine on right now, I'd kill you guys with the echo. I'm using an external mic. Here, I'm using this. Let me show you the mic I'm using. That's my mic. See?
Wow,
power off. Yeah, it's covered. It's covered in acoustic.
Where'd you get that?
It's a what do you call it? The same brand as the camera. Desk microphone. It's silver, but I covered it in felt. I put acoustic insulation in the base of it. Yeah, I cut down on the echo really good because I got a freaking stereo over here. I hardly ever use headphones, so it helps cut down on the echo. But if I were to turn on, I could turn on a webcam microphone right now and show you how bad it echoes.
Looks like a Pakistani dildo. Looks like.
Here, let me. Since we're talking about it, I'm just curious.
Italian stallion.
You got my curiosity up now. microphone USB device, audio device. I'm going to change it to microphone webcam C170. Here we go. I better lower the volume.
Yeah, am I gonna be hurting here, dude?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sound good.
Am I echoing? Are you echoing?
No.
Hey, doodly doo.
Does it sound?
All right.
Does it sound as good as my external mic? Oh, wait, let me
No,
shut this
I
one.
like the other mic.
You like the other mic, right?
Yeah, you
Right.
sound real good with the other mic.
Yeah. Well, the last time I tried this, it echoed like crazy. I guess it's working tonight. All right, I'm gonna switch back.
Okay,
Because
just
I can't hear myself in my speakers on this one because I didn't turn on the listen option on the webcam mic.
all right. Well, okay. How about
I
this,
can still
guys?
turn on this mic and I can still do that.
The last thing that I noticed this week was, for some reason, Brojo is really concerned about the Greek financial crisis. Do any of you guys even care?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me just switch my device here. Audio device,
It's
microphone.
more bullshit, dude. I mean, they kicked the can. What is it? Last year, 2 years ago, they kept kicking it down the can, down the way, and it's back again.
Well,
The
Testing,
debt is
1, 2.
back again. Amazing.
people are worried about the whole thing collapsing, right? Isn't that the whole thing of, hey, Lindsay?
It's in the process of collapsing now.
Yeah, they were talking about it earlier this morning.
Yeah, every morning you seem to talk about it.
Fabio was saying it's really just political. They're not going to disappear overnight.
Right.
It's more political than it's actual financial. I don't know. I don't know as much about it. I've been listening to the public radio station, and they've been talking about it like it was a big deal. And the way Fabio made it sound like it was a political.
You got a choice. You can talk Bill Cosby or you can talk Greece. And Brojo's talking Greece.
Bill Cosby? What are we talking about?
You don't know about Bill Cosby? Now
Picture
I know.
picture pages, dude?
That came from left field. What the fuck are you talking about?
Bill Cosby, he admitted in a deposition that he was drugging women to have sex.
He's drugging chicks to have sex with them?
Go to this thing called Google Top News Stories, and you'll see Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, dude?
I'll leave the old man alone.
Leave him alone. He's only a rapist, right?
Mm.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Bunto, I'll get on cam just for you to give you hearts.
Hard on? Okay, why are your hands pink?
I was fingering a unicorn.
You're making a cosplay uniform?
No,
I heard she was fingering a unicorn.
Fingering a unicorn.
There you
I
go.
love it.
That's
A heart
gross.
for you.
What happened to your hands? That's not unicorn blood. Unicorn blood's purple, dude.
That's unicorn cum.
Oh, it's cum. Oh, my bad.
Well, it's a family show.
You guys are bad, man.
All right, so how have you been, Lindsay? Have you been, like, rubbing it in all the Christians' face? I did. Got kicked out.
Oh, I rage quit the other night.
Oh, you rage quit?
Because I was having a conversation with Mike Holiday.
Oh my God! You rage quit on Mike Holiday? Oh, I love you. You're my new
No, I
boyfriend.
didn't rage quit on Mike Holiday. I rage quit on stupid Ryan. Lyrics was there. Obo was there.
I missed a good one. I wish I'd seen that.
I just told him that Christianity suffered a staggering defeat, and then started making fun of Nate Cunningham's voice, and I got kicked out.
Oh, don't.
Mike Holiday blocked me, so I couldn't be there.
If you're gonna make fun of anyone, you have to make fun of. Well, G-Man's overrated.
Christian Hillbilly was in there,
Oh damn.
in his straight pride parade.
Oh, what are my keys? Look at my new lanyard.
All right, tolerance. I need
There goes that tolerance thing again.
a rainbow bandana.
Do I need to show my certificate again?
Right.
I'm going to buy you a rainbow bandana. They have them at Spencer's.
Okay, Nate Cunningham was trying to say that the Christians weren't upset about, and I said, "Are you kidding me? That's all I've seen is butthurt videos about the decision from the Supreme Court? I mean,
Oh,
okay, so
butthurt videos. Don't worry, they get over it after a while.
Christians are trying to do some revisionism, saying that they were for gay rights all along, right? Apparently, some Christians.
In what
Apparently.
fucking world?
I know. In what fucking
Cerberus
world are you
Hex?
talking?
You mean what universe? What parallel universe?
I know, let's all be friends. I'm a homosexual. Kill the homosexual.
We were always for you guys getting married. Okay, so now they want to say that everything's
I want some of what Lindsay had.
Now they're saying that people are going to marry dogs and you're going to have multiple wives and stuff. And I said that's not what the
They
decision was
always
about.
say that. They always compare homosexuality to either pedophilia or
Bestiality.
bestiality or something like that.
Hey, they're the ones that are guilty of it.
Necrophilia too.
Yeah,
Once you go gay, you want to start fucking dead people.
Yeah. That's because that's what they think about.
Slippery
So
slope,
they
man.
start projecting their evils on you.
Yeah, man, once you smoke a joint, 10, 15 days later, you're in a crack house, man. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, because marijuana is the gateway drug.
Yeah, so is gay. Gay is the gateway sin. Once you hit gay, then you go full animal fucking or corpse fucking.
Corpse
That's how it
fucking.
works.
Okay, so when you see these Christians having their hangout and they're whining, you make sure it's a point to bring up that it was a staggering Christian defeat. I've noticed when you say it that way, they tend to get all upset and butthurt.
I like to remind them that they are willingly taking away from someone else's right to do something. They want to enforce someone else's, they just want to be a Nazi, bro. You just want to be a Nazi and take away people's rights. That's what it is.
Right. It's like I always said. It's just because that's not the way they think. They want to make sure that everybody thinks like them.
But if everyone thinks the same, wouldn't the world be boring?
Right. Exactly.
Precisely.
But,
I mean,
That's what heaven is.
I tell people, just because I'm straight, and just because I cringe when I see two guys holding hands down the street, doesn't mean that I have the right to go up to them and say that you don't have the right to do that. It's none of my fucking business.
I second that.
I just turn around and not watch, that's all.
I cringe when I see straight people make out.
Hey,
Yeah, I never think of that.
it's fair
All right.
enough.
Well, let me ask you guys. Okay, is the thing going to wear out? Like next week, they're not going to even care about gay marriage. It's just a fad.
No, they're still bitching about it in Canada, Christians.
Oh, really?
No.
It'll take about 10.
It's been over 10 years.
Okay, so we could still play upon their butt hurt for a good 10 years. I'll take it.
Yeah, when you drive by and you see the South family protesting, God hates fags, you should throw lube at them.
All right. Okay. All right. So, guys, they want to take down the Confederate flag. They should replace it with a gay pride flag. Would that be the ultimate facial applied to the racists?
I don't know. There is the pride flag interversed with the Canadian flag, and they're floating around. I'm sure Oval's seen it.
Well,
I've
okay.
seen it.
Didn't Obama
It's really
do that?
tacky.
Well,
Didn't
hold on.
Obama
Don't you think it's hypocritical for gay people to have a flag that symbolizes who they are, and then get the right to marry, get equal treatment, and then tell some other people who don't like you guys you can't have that flag, but my flag is cooler, and we're going to try and outlaw your flag. Don't you
I
see
will
it
say
a little
it's not
hypocritical?
hypocritical.
No.
But
I don't
say-
care if you Americans want two flags.
No.
I think
That's
that comes under. I think that comes under the two wrongs don't make a right syndrome.
Yeah, right.
I say let them have any flag they want. At least it allows them to self-point them out so we know who to avoid.
Okay. Well, this is what I say.
Well, I can show you a map of the hate groups because I have that certificate that I'm part of that organization.
Right. In a free country, you're afforded, freedom, right? The right to do what you want to do. Okay, so you're free.
Hopefully we are. Sometimes people like to take away that right.
Right. Well, okay.
You're
Those jokers that are
free
free
to
to not
violate.
look both ways when they cross the road, when they keep getting run over, we have to pay for it. See what I mean? these people are still spreading hate since the loss of the Civil War. Do we still have to keep paying for that, or can we finally say bullshit? Take that fucking flag down.
There are always
I'd say bullshit. Take that
being
fucking flag
spread.
down. Unless you want to talk about it being a piece of history and things like that, as long as you're going to sit there and promote hatred with it, then you are flying that thing for the wrong reasons.
There's always going to be hate in the world. It's just how the world goes. People fear what's different. And now the Confederate flag doesn't necessarily mean
History.
hate.
Oh, okay.
It's history, for sure. And people are proud of their history. They're proud of the South. But they lost the war.
Yeah,
Right.
Didn't they?
See, the reason why these particular people are flying it is because they're butthurt, and because they still want slaves, and because they're white supremacist assholes. Now, if they were flying it for history reasons, and they wanted to put it in the museum, and they wanted to fly it under the official American flag, that would be okay. But no, they don't want that. They want this thing to fly on the top of the flagpole. They want it to be promoting their hatred.
Like they're still the South. Like the South is still going.
Like they're still fighting the fucking Civil War.
Hey, Brojo. Brojo, I've been
What's
noticing
up?
the morning.
How come we're not talking about Greece?
I know, that's what I wanted to What's the deal about Greece? I mean, should I be more worried or not? I'm not worried about it.
You not worried about it?
Well, I mean, they're going to take down the whole world, right? Just this little country falling?
They're not going to take it down. I mean, they're in the same situation even America's in, and a lot of people. You can't spend more money than you take in, right?
Okay.
Simple math. Eventually, it just doesn't work. You're going to have to default, go bankrupt. You know, them defaulting on a debt shows that their inability to pay. They rely on other countries to, for resources like, would you sell something to somebody if they didn't have an ability to pay you? So if you're caught, I
This
see.
decision was made with the knowledge, knowing that there wasn't going to be payment either. So this was just kicking the can. Both parties knew.
Sure, it's a shell game, Let's see, and then whoever gets stuck,
Okay, but look, you're having these morning hangouts and you're scaring people, right? That's what you want to do?
I'm not looking to scare people. I'm just looking to make people maybe aware of news that they're not seeing, on mainstream media or every day. I mean, like Greece, like say here, what was his name? Cerberus, the prime minister. Like he had a meeting with Putin. I mean, there's possibility, and Putin is part of the BRICS nation. Most people that I've run into don't even know about the BRICS nation, and this is pretty much, I think, a big deal. The BRICS nation.
I didn't know about it.
Actually, Bunto, the conversation this morning in his hangout was going very well and intelligently until they started talking about science, and then conspiracy theorist Michael Ann, the fucking nurse,
Michael Ann,
and showed just how stupid she was, and that's when I left. That's when my tolerance for
Michael Ann
stupidity.
still around?
Let's hear this, dude. What'd you say? What'd you say, Pat?
Let's put it this way: the picture of Pluto that just came out is not real. Okay.
No,
the moon
we did not
pictures. There's
say
no
that.
good moon pictures.
We didn't say the
There's no good moon
not
pictures.
We were just a little surprised that pictures from NASA, because that was one of the subjects about the pictures of the recent pictures released by NASA of Pluto.
Dude, I just shared
for NASA, they were just less than quality.
Listen, we know that it was blurry, and I was trying to explain, but she started spitting out something about the moon and how it's a big fucking conspiracy. There's no good pictures of the moon. They're all photoshopped. And I was like, okay, the stupidity in this hangout has gotten down to an intelligence level lower than I can tolerate. So I'm out of here, and that's
You
when
rate the science quit.
He raged
Science
like
rage.
a little bitch. Like a little
come
child.
on. I was
Oh,
apologetic
boy.
to Brother John. I said, Brother John, I'll talk to you
little
later.
child.
Hey, look, I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
Okay, look, why does Michael Ann need to do that?
Patrick, I came here because you were here, man.
There you go. Fan.
One Patrick to another. Cheers.
Hey, I'm the other Patrick. I was in a hangout the other night, and a couple of people wouldn't talk to me because they thought I was you, because they saw Patrick. And I'm like, no, I'm not that Patrick, So.
Right. I mean, your name is Patrick something or other. What is it?
Patrick the Hacker.
Patrick Five.
I saw it here just a minute ago. What is it?
Secular Lobster Ministries.
Patrick Thatcher or Thacker.
Yeah.
Secular lobster.
I mean,
That's funny.
Preaching to the Lobsters Ministries.
Goes good with spaghetti.
Butter. Okay, look.
It seems to me that you're not cloning my account or anything like that.
No, they just see the name, and they thought I was you. So that a couple people got out of the hangout because they thought I was you. And
They left? Are you saying they left the hangout because they thought you were Pat?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
You see,
Patrick's
I told you that cloning incident was a big problem for me.
I know. I mean, we look so much alike anyway.
right. Okay, look, guys. Why do people like Michael Ann exist?
What does that mean?
What
What does that mean?
I mean, people
Like
that don't
Michael Ann,
believe.
Follow Fox News.
Oh, you mean women with guy names?
That
I mean,
read the
what?
newspaper.
People that
There are
don't.
people like that just don't use their brains. They're just sheep. They follow. There's Christians. There's Muslims. There's atheists. There's lots of people that just don't know about what's going on. They just read their local newspaper and then they listen to the news. And we all know that the news is full of propaganda.
Okay, Michael Ann is an attractive woman who doesn't believe that the moon exists, hates our government,
Oh God, you're putting words. I don't think she ever said that she doesn't think the moon exists.
knows that vitamin C cures cancer. I mean, why does that occur in America at the level?
Because of something that is my pet peeve.
Willful ignorance.
Science illiteracy.
Science
Willful
illiteracy.
ignorance is another way to put it. But the lack of science literacy in this country is at an epidemic level.
How many times do you hear somebody say, "Oh, I read about it on the internet"? They read an article, or watch Dr. Oz, and also they have the answer.
Yeah, the internet information is fine as long as you don't go to
Wiki is my
www.conspiracytheory.com.
I don't blame the internet. These people are actually.
No, they're looking for one answer. The first thing they read, is what they like. The one that makes them feel.
Yeah, but the thing that Michael Ann types into Google is, I want you to go to this site, NASAHidesThings.com.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, like, duh.
Or you go to a credible website and they have subject matter on there like conspiracies, the truth, militant atheism, things like that,
Yeah.
All right. So your show, Brojo, is aimed at the conspiracy theorists.
No, not at all.
So you disabuse them. You tell Michael Ann, "I'm sorry," but
Not until I got there, anyway.
I just bring up stories, and I mean the whole thing with the moon thing was not intentional. I didn't mean to go there. We were talking about Pluto, the bad pictures of Pluto. Go to the NASA website and go see their picture of Pluto, and don't tell me that you don't expect a little bit more from NASA as far as technology and getting a nice picture, especially you're a couple million miles from Pluto.
Well, you don't expect it. I was starting to explain. This is what happened, Brother John. You asked a legitimate question. You were talking about it, and you said Patrick. You literally said Patrick, and I started to talk. And what did Michael Ann do? She started shouting over me with her fucking conspiracy bullshit.
Right.
And I was going to explain the idea of resolution and the distance from it, how small Pluto is to begin with, the size of the spacecraft and the smallness of the cameras because they don't take it, etc., so forth and so on. But she was just bent on every photo that they send is photoshopped CGI. Okay.
Does she have a point?
Right, I know.
Don't forget the age of the crafts. Some of these crafts that have made it out there, they've taken like how many years?
Yeah, decades.
I mean, I think I was a diaper when some of these were sent off.
I kept telling her to take a pair of binoculars and look at the moon tonight, and she just kept brushing me off.
Right, how old was the? When did they send out?
Piccolo destroyed the moon long ago, and it was a hologram. The moon is a hologram.
When did they send it out? New Horizons?
New Horizons was launched in 2006. It was 9 years ago. So it's what are we looking at?
Not
The
that long
moon
ago.
is God's little nightlight.
2006. It
Not
was
that
launched.
long ago.
Yes, it was 9 years ago. January
Okay,
of 2006.
Not that long ago.
Okay, I can show you the. It was launched.
No,
in
I'm just saying it's not that long ago.
Who's saying
Okay.
that? Who's saying that?
I am.
I'm telling you, it was launched in January of 2006.
I know, and I'm saying that was not that long ago where
Oh, it was
technology
not
was
that
so
long ago.
bad. Right.
Okay.
Okay, look. Brojo's
9
scaring
years is not a
people
long
with financial stuff. There's nobody counting your financial wisdom, right, Brojo? And then you're,
There's no-
you know, what kind of crowd are you attracting to the Morning Crow?
Whoever's interested.
The
Just be
interesting
civil. You want to join the conversation? Dude, come on in. You know, I have my circles that I invite, but you know, we opened it up after a while.
Have you had to kick anybody out yet?
No, I don't think so.
It's good.
No.
The thing is, I hardly ever get up that early, so this is the one time I did.
I see.
That's
it
why you had the show.
When I see it, then I always get a good chuckle because you call it the Morning Crow, and my old username is Ravens.
Oh.
So I'm like, when I see it, I'm like, I'm gonna go for a walk and look at a real crow if I want to listen to crows.
Well, we won't be having one tomorrow morning, but tonight we're having a night owl. So there, you can come then.
Okay, so what's the difference between those shows?
The time of day.
That's it? Are they both conspiracy based?
No, tonight's pretty much just an open forum. You know, talk about what. There's a couple. You know, maybe I'll. You know, maybe I don't know. China is big in the story now. You know, the 30% plunge in their market. It's affected our markets today.
How
So,
come
you
you
know.
don't want to talk about stuff that's going on in the great debate community? You want to do topical news?
It's old hack. That's why I don't do God talk anymore. It's just, you know, what do you want to talk about? It's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
Nadia?
Well, let me ask you this though. It's already nighttime. So what time are you having this night owl?
11 o'clock Eastern
Oh,
Standard Time.
okay.
So 40,
Maybe I-
about
maybe I
40
should-
minutes. About 40 minutes.
I'll cap this hangout in about 5 minutes. Well, I mean, good luck to you and your show format. I mean, are the viewers
5
picking up?
minutes? Oh no, but Bunto time. I missed you long time.
Oh, I miss you too, honey. Okay, but are the viewers picking up, Brojo?
Well,
Or
I
they
mean, the
just-
videos on my channel, those views are not that much. It's between 30 and 70, you know. Sometimes it all depends on what kind of people always like to click if there's an interesting
But you're
thumbnail
doing
or
this
something.
as an alternative to Nadia, right?
I'm just doing it because I enjoy doing it. We're giving a different outlet to talk about different things.
And
That's
that's
all.
good that you're talking about different things because religion and politics and like
Well,
religion is so overrated for
G-Man.
this.
You got G-Man or God Talk.
I stay away from I don't stay away from talking about drama and people. Let's talk about ideas and events and things that could possibly really affect us personally.
Hey, Brother John, by the way, real quick, this photo came in today. This was a photo of Pluto as of yesterday from about or less than 5 million miles away.
It's amazing.
This is newer than the one you shared this morning.
Okay.
It looks good to me.
Yeah.
But I will show you a video of a guy who has a camera comparable to NASA shooting Jupiter from the Earth 400 million miles away. I know Jupiter's much bigger. Yes, I get it. But
Brother
it's
John,
400
I can
but
get
it's
my own
400
binoculars with
million.
a camera attached to it, and I can take a better picture than
Kind of looks like a
Jupiter is
sonogram.
immensely closer.
Don't
It
forget
does.
to the craft and the quality of the transmission. I mean, because the higher the resolution literally means the more data it has to send.
That's right, and also Pluto is tiny. It's smaller than our moon. Jupiter
That's
is
what I was going to
fucking
ask you.
huge.
That is smaller than our moon. Isn't it amazing?
Okay?
That shouldn't be a planet. It's a planetoid.
You have
It's
to
smaller than our
understand the
moon.
difference here. Not only is it smaller, but Jupiter is much closer and it's huge. With my little $300 telescope, I can see Cassini's division on Saturn, and that's further than Jupiter.
Wow.
This doesn't get
That's what I'm trying to
looks
tell
like,
you.
still looks like a sonogram.
Yeah.
Looks like a circle to me, dude. Round
Okay.
one.
Are you going to try to convince Michael Ann that NASA's real, Brojo?
No, it's not my job.
We report, you decide.
For the love of humanity, Brojo, try and convince
It's
her.
not my job either, but I'll never block her. She might block me though. I'll never block her in hopes that she might be hanging out with one of us and actually learn something.
You can't lose hope in Michael Ann.
I half wonder if for some of these people that they just can't seem to comprehend the distances. I mean, I try hard to, and I still can't even do it. I mean, like these distances of everything is just so big. Yeah, some people, I think, they think that the world is literally everything that they can see within, horizon distance, and
Oh, you should have heard her. She was talking. She was spitting out all these numbers and subtracting and multiplying. I'm like, where the fuck you get these numbers from? She thought the Milky Way galaxy was only a few hundred miles in diameter or some shit. What the fuck she was talking about?
Oh my God.
400 miles?
But she was saying 250 miles or 250,000 miles. I'm like, 250 million fucking light years. 1 light year is 5 trillion miles, bitch. I didn't say bitch. I didn't say
I
bitch.
love it. Bitch! Oh, well,
Brother
okay.
John,
Well, this is
I didn't say bitch, but I almost did.
Oh, I loved it. Oh, wait, guys, this has been a lovely hang. I'm going to go ahead and cap it. I hope you all have a good week. Happy hump day. And once again, marriage equality in your face.
well,
Take care.
nice quickly meeting you then.
Oh, yeah. We can talk
Hold
afterwards.
on.
Take care.